Mm. Morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Great to be here with you this morning. Very, very excited for today's show. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. Morning, Paulie.
Good morning. Can I make a shout out really quick?
Shout away, man. Welcome to Rick D's American Top 40.
Burrito Hotline is open.
Burrito Hotline is screaming this morning.
Happy birthday to my mother, Julie.
Birthday.
She's watching on YouTube right now.
Is she watching?
Hi, Mom. I love you.
Does she watch?
She does.
Nice. Hi, Julie.
I don't like it.
You've raised quite the thoughtful, kind, hardworking son. And happy birthday to you. Moms are magical. Most moms, I'd say, are magical people. You did good.
She's the best. Get to see her in a couple months. She'll be down here. Her and her husband coming down to San Diego. Take her to a Padres game.
Yeah.
Show her around.
So sick.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Love you, Mom.
That's happy birthday, Julie. And to my left, Benjamin R. Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Good morning to you, Benjamin.
Good morning. I didn't bring any shout outs, but good morning to everybody.
I'm trying to think if I have one
in our audience. Yeah, you need to shout out someone. You got called out at Petco Park yesterday.
Shout out Ricky.
Shouting out.
Yeah, shout out to Padres trainer Ricky Huerta.
There you go.
He's a sweet angel, and ran into him yesterday. We went down to Petco Park. We were working on a little something, and we'll continue to do that. I think you guys will really enjoy it when and if it comes together. But it was good to be down there. I wonder if the audience thinks, like, I'll be honest with you guys. I've been doing radio for a long time, but I've been doing sports radio only 5 years. And I don't feel that I take advantage of the access that I'm given very much at all. Like, hey, I get it all. I hear it all the time. And really about all, like, I had people that I was talking to, playing golf with. Hey man, you going to go to that Wrexham game and this and that? Are you going to go to this? Are you going to go to the Wave and see Alex Morgan? Are you going to go do this and that? And I go, oh no, I'm not going to. Hey, are you going to be at the press conference? Are you going to? You go down? You can go down to the dugout any day you want. Yeah, any day I want. I can walk into the dugout. My dad, I think it drives my dad crazy a little bit because he's like, you can just go down on the field. I go, yeah, 81 times a year if I want to. And if they were on the road and I really needed to get down there, I could probably do that too. And I don't think it registers with him or a lot of friends of mine. They're like, I don't get it. And honestly, you know what it boils down to for me? And I thought
you can't make it down to the press conference. Surely you'll be on the Zoom, though.
No, I just don't. It's not laziness. If you guys know me, you guys work with me. I'm not lazy about this show.
No,
I take the show very seriously. I take my job very seriously. That being said, I don't take advantage of all of the access that I'm provided. And it's funny, and I know why. I mean, I was in there yesterday. We were down at Petco Park, and I had the credential on, and I feel like a fish out of water. And I also feel like I feel like I'm bothering them. I really do. I feel like I know it's my job, but I feel like I'm bothering them.
It's kind of it's tough to explain a little bit, but because, you do need reporters down there to ask questions. If no one showed up ever and no one ever had any questions for Bob Melvin or the players after the game,
they would love it.
But we would never get any insight. So it's absolutely essential that you have a few people.
How much insight do we really
Well, I think we need a little bit. I don't.
We need it. How much do we actually get?
That's a good point.
There's a part of that factors into it as well, where I'm like, I don't need to be up until 11 when I have a show I need to be really rested and prepared and on point for, just to hear, yeah, we're going to get them tomorrow, or yeah, we just play them one game at a time. Like, I don't need to be there for that.
But my point
is that the wrong attitude?
No, it's not, because my point is, and I've been doing this for more than 25 years now.
Yeah.
And I had a point where I was down there every single day, pre-game, talking to the manager's scrum, in the clubhouse, talking to the players. But eventually I've kind of come to look at it. It's the media version of eyewash, to show up there every single day just to be seen when for a large portion of the time,
so
you're
true.
Just sitting there shooting the breeze with other media members or people who walk by. You're not really getting any work done.
Yeah.
Yet it feels like you are on the scene, so you're being seen, so no one can call you out for not working. Hey, he was down there. It doesn't matter if you didn't get anything done at all. You didn't get one question answered. You didn't get a nugget, a tidbit of information. Nothing came of it. You were there, so you were doing your job. It's a little bit like, sprinting out
on a walk or something.
On a comebacker to the pitcher or something. Oh, look, these guys he's really trying hard because he's out there every single day.
Agreed.
I get as much Padres information and more that I can handle every single day.
Same.
Without rarely, I do go occasionally, but without being there on a absolute daily basis, because I know exactly where I can get all that information. I can watch Bob's news conferences before the games. I see the sound after the games. I don't have to be there. Now, again, the catch, if no one showed up, I would feel like, okay, now I need to be down there because I'm not getting this stuff. I honestly want to see some of this stuff.
Like, and it's fun. I mean, dude, it's always been hard for me since day one of this job, since day one of being in sports radio. It's always been hard for me to separate morning show host and massive, giant 12-year-old Woods, like baseball fan Woods. It's still a trip to me when we were in the locker room yesterday, and it was pretty empty. And there's one guy in there, and it's Juan Soto, and he's 3 feet from me. I still have the like I know he's just a man. He's a kid. I'm double his age. Like,
he could be your son.
He could literally be my child. Honest to God. But there's still something in me where I go, oh wow, that's Juan Soto. It's never gonna go away. It's never gonna go away. And anytime I'm in there, I feel like I'm bothering them. Now, the best part is Paulie crushed me yesterday. He goes, somebody said something, Paulie, he's like, well, I mean, they haven't seen us since opening day. And I go, yeah, that's pretty much right. I mean, here we are in almost August. We're sitting on the dugout. We're sitting in the dugout and on the top of the dugout, like not the top of the dugout, but the top bench of the dugout. Like there's the bench and then there's the back. We're sitting on the back. So our asses are up on the deal where you see the seeds and the gum. Bob Melvin walks out of the tunnel. He has his fungo in his hand. He looks over. He goes, oh, no. Is everything okay?
He goes, what am I in trouble?
What are you guys doing here? And I go, and it laid me out. Then I probably shouldn't tell this one. Well, Crony walked by and he's like, what do you guys want an interview? And I go, hey, anytime. And then he said something very crass and funny. But he was great. And it was good seeing him and catching up with him. And listen, I know that he's having a rough year. I do. People like to hear stuff like this, though. I will tell you, I mean, very, very early, we all saw it. That dude was the first one out there, and he was hitting off velo hard. I mean, he was like really, really working.
Yeah, and knowing that he was getting the day off the game, he went out for early batting practice
off the velo machine,
off the high velocity pitching machine.
Well, let's put it this way: Matt Batten was hitting off the same machine, and Matt Batten was Willie Mays hazing it into the top of the fence, basically, like just popping everything up.
Cage.
And the cage, yeah. Crony was hitting missiles. I mean, listen, I love the dude. I hope he does well. He's having a rough year. He'd be the first to tell you he's having a rough year, a very, very rough year. And I know people like hearing stuff like that. So he was out there. He's putting in the work. Yeah, I actually said on the bench, I'm like, I feel like he's Tommy Phamming this one, dude. He's out there. He's taken about 200 swings since we've been here. And then Ben's like, well, he's off tonight, so he's getting his work in. You pull for a guy like Jake Cronenworth every single day. He's always been great to us, always been great to our show. It was nice to talk to him. Ben whacked his head on the top of the dugout.
That was the best moment of the day.
It's very short. He's tall, and he's sitting there on the thing.
The elevated part of the bench. Yeah. There's maybe 5 inches between his head and the roof of the dugout.
Tim Hill walked up to us at that moment, and he was clearly like looking for something that was normally where we're sitting,
like maybe behind us.
Did I sit in front of something? Like his mitt or something is sitting like right behind me. Did I sit on it or something? So I kind of panicked.
There was nothing there.
Like, I need to get out of the way fast. So I I hopped to it. I dove out of the way, and as I did so, just whacked my head.
I mean,
like the top.
It sounded like this. Like
it didn't hurt so much at the time. I will admit that in the following minutes, I felt a little nauseous, and I thought that's not good. And it is a little tender today. So I hit it pretty hard.
Tim Hill is 1 foot from Ben. He goes, don't worry, dude. I do it all the effing time.
Jesus God, guy, are you okay? What's going? Whoa.
That's the thing. Here's the other part about why I don't go down there a ton. And then I'll just be honest. I like to joke. I like to bust balls.
You joke down there more than anyone I have ever met in the history of San Diego media. In 25 years, you've joked with more.
Congratulations.
I think you could combine every media member together for 25 years and the times that they've made some joking comment to a player, and they wouldn't even be close to your total right now. I mean, you are the Tiger Woods, and then there's everyone else below you on joking with the players when you're down there at Petco Park.
It's really fun, but but also the other thing is, okay, for example,
like Crony walked up to us, and I think he gave me the bro hug. He gave you a bro hug, and I think AJ Cassavell's head exploded. Just couldn't stand it.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
No, but
you do know that's why people hate
me. Yeah, it's fine. That's fine. I really don't care what my colleagues think, unless it's you guys. That's all I care about. But I also I'll take a lighthearted shot at some players from time to time. Like, for example, Brent Honeywell's had a bit of a rough go. I've called him Brent Homerwell a few times. He walked out of the tunnel and gave a look over, and I go, yep, he heard it. He's going to cut my throat right here, right now. So that's the other reason. It's kind of like Billy Beane. He didn't want to travel with the team because it would make it easier to cut. I don't go down there because it's easier to joke if they don't see you. Everything. What'd you say about me? I'm like, that would be it for me. I'd have to retire. If somebody, it's all busting balls. At the end of the day, I think the team, the organization knows, I think they know I root my ass off for that team every single day. And so does my entire family. So, but yeah, every now and then I'll take a lighthearted, it's nothing personal. Never get personal with the guys. They're having, some guys are having a rough year. Some guys are having a good year, but I did feel that I love going down there. I really do. And it's almost like I have to tear myself away from when I'm down there. It's really cool. It's really cool.
You did not, though, do the one bit that would have been pretty genius with Jake, because I'm looking at our YouTube comments right now.
I want to do this with Jake so bad.
Swing is doo-doo. He tries to pull the ball too much. And Woodsy goes, it would be amazing if we just started showing tweets to Jake with tips about how he can fix his swing right now.
I was a hair away from saying, okay, we got time for this quick story. So I've got a friend coming to town this weekend, and I got a friend coming to town this weekend. He's from Texas. I used to work with him, and he's a great dude. He's coming with his whole family, and then another whole family. There's like 12 of them coming. So he hits me up a couple months ago, and he's like, hey, I want to bring my son. I think his son's 10, 11, huge baseball fan, huge Tatis guy, huge Soto guy, huge Manny guy. He goes, can we get to Petco Park? And I go, yeah, I'll do you one better. I go, I'll put in and see if we can get on the field for batting practice. And you just get the little pass. You see it every game. There's the fences set up, and kids can watch batting
corral
practice.
Of people who are down there. Yeah.
So my buddy is not the world's biggest baseball fan. His kid is huge, and I almost feel bad for his kid because his dad, I've known his dad for years. His dad knows nothing about baseball, but he's supporting his kid, and he wants to be there for him. So I said, yeah, I got that. The barrage of texts that I've received about Friday night it's insane. But the best one was, hey, so we get down on the field for batting practice. I go, yeah. He goes, do we get to take a few swings? Oh. And I went, I go, no, this is the professionals batting practice. And he goes, yeah, I had to ask. You didn't have to ask. So I told Crony the story, and I said, hey, I'm gonna be down here Friday night. I said, don't big league me. If you see me in there, come by and say hello, please. And he's like, oh, done. And I told him the story. He stopped and he looked at me. He goes, I know what to do.
Uh-oh.
He goes, call the dad, say, yeah, they actually said they would. Your kid needs to be in full uniform, though. I go, Jake, I'm not gonna put this 12-year-old through hell because his dad is an idiot. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. I said, and he started laughing. He's like, I'll come by and say hello. But yeah, man, like it's always fun going down there, but I'd have to temper myself because you don't want me down there every day. You just don't.
No, they don't want you.
They don't want me down there every day. So
a couple times a season is plenty, and they seem happy to see you. Actually,
yeah, because
you know why? To a limited basis.
Because I don't bother them. I don't bother them. It was really fun though. Always fun to hang out with you guys too outside the show. We always have a lot of laughs, but man, it was. Yeah. Can I get a few swings? Actually, I talked to the guys. They're going to let you coach third. They're going to let you. You're going to coach first, and your kid's going to coach third tonight. Is that good enough?
Fill out the lineup card.
It was so good. It was so good. So anyway,
all right. The ceremony has begun on a Wednesday. It's great to have everybody with us. I think we're still tracking down Adam Jones. He said he'd be on the East Coast somewhere. So figure it's an AJ sort of Wednesday. Look for him in the 7:00 hour usually. I know we'll have another AJ though. AJ Cassavell, who we saw yesterday when we were down at the ballpark covering the Padres. MLB.com reporter going to be with us at 9:00. And, of course, I have all our regular features, including Don't Do This, Take on Woods. And our Daily Ditty is up next. Now, the theme, and Woods, I took your advice yesterday. You picked San Diego bands. And I'm not familiar with many of them, but you said this is your chance. Go through, just start listening to things you've never heard before and pick something different.
Sure.
So
can I just say, I sampled this song when you sent it to me. I listened to 4 seconds and went,
I went completely,
okay? Is everything okay?
Different. I listened to something that I've never heard before. Okay. Found one of their songs. I think they're very talented. It's not my particular genre of music, but they are a San Diego band.
Okay. I'm in.
We will hear them coming up next with Ben and Woods. Stick around on San Diego's #1 sports station. Kelly with our first check of traffic on a Wednesday on 97.3 The Fan. Took your advice, Woods, and expanded my horizons for the Daily Ditty. I didn't even know this style of music even existed. This is called, the style is called Death Grind. And this is a local San Diego band called Cattle Decapitation. And this is one of their biggest hits. It's Scourge of the Offspring. Now, very interesting band. They are they're hardcore vegetarian vegans, and most of their music is essentially kind of protests toward the eating of animals.
Let's hear the pipes. Our buddies, they're in a similar-ish band called Corpus, and Big Tier 1. And the fellas from Corpus, one of them has reached out and said, I will do anything if you bring Ben to a Corpus show. And I said, just count on it. I mean, that is a night out for the Ben and Woods show.
I don't know if Cattle Decapitation has ever toured with Corpus, but they have toured with other extreme metal acts, including Suffocation, Cryptopsy, The Black Dahlia Murder,
I know them.
Deicide, Behemoth, and Hate Eternal.
I saw Black Dahlia Murder one time, and dude, loud and very, very aggressive.
I like this story I saw on their Wikipedia page. So in 2018, 2 Native American teens were touring Colorado State University, like college tour.
Yeah.
But they were really kind of goth, wearing dark clothing, and they were being very quiet. And they got so suspicious, they like pulled them out of the tour, like worrying they were up to something.
Yeah.
And then when the band found out that one of the guys was wearing Cattle Decapitation T-shirts, they offered them free guest list spots for life.
It's amazing.
At any show they want to go to.
That is amazing.
I like that story as well.
Cattle Decapitation.
Cattle Decapitation.
Seemingly very good dudes.
Seems like it.
Yeah. Really, really cool. Wow. You did go outside your comfort zone.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe they're listening right now as a local band. So Travis, Josh, Dave, Belisario, Olivier, if you're out there, give us a call, 833-288-0973. We'd love to hear from Cattle Decapitation.
Anytime. The floor is yours.
Yeah.
Carte blanche, guys. That's maybe they can play the Christmas and holiday extravaganza. It's not out of the realm of possibilities of things that we would do. Now they came for me.
I actually now want to hear a Death Grind Christmas album.
Oh, they're out there.
Yeah.
They're out there. Yeah, you can find them. That's really, I mean, I guess somebody gives you an assignment, Ben, you follow it to the letter of the law.
I did.
You knocked it out of the park. That was excellent.
Excellent. Right. Speaking of assignments, we assigned Jesse Angler the incorporator word on Tuesdays when he joins us on the program, and then he's got to take a weird vocabulary word and figure out how to get it into that night's broadcast. So yesterday, we don't have the setup, but yesterday Woods gave him the word triskaidekaphobia.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the extreme fear of the number 13, like visceral fear of the number 13. We didn't think it would be that hard for, in a game of numbers like baseball with,
piece of cake,
guys wearing uniform numbers, especially a particular Padre who wears that uniform number, for Jesse to work it in, but you knew it would be entertaining. However it happened, Paulie, what inning was this?
This was in the top of the 7th.
Okay.
He-Man Choi up to bat for Pittsburgh, and they start talking about a couple of things that he is known for throughout baseball. First, I believe was he the first Korean player to come over?
Might have been. That's good. That's a good question.
I think that's what they said. I clipped it right.
He's got a couple of notable quirks. Let's just say.
And we start with the second thing that he is known for.
He also has a apparently crippling fear of ghosts.
Is that right?
Big ghost guy.
Me and him in the same boat.
Oh, I did not know that.
It's not like the Pfister Hotel in Milwaukee. Phasmophobia, by the way, the fear of ghosts.
Yeah, I don't know if I have phasmophobia.
You're not a phasmophobic?
No, I don't think so.
Here's the 2-2. Choi takes high on outside. You got a lot of that kind of stuff going around in baseball, of course. You got the triskaidekaphobia, which is the thing where you don't like the number 13.
Wow.
A lot of guys won't wear that number.
I'm lucky.
Manny, no problem. Very lucky.
Clearly.
He brings up the Pfister Hotel, hardly know her. But,
Pfister? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That was a discussion of the Milwaukee Hotel that is supposedly the most haunted hotel that teams regularly stay at in Major League Baseball.
So he was with the Angels in 2016, and he went 0 for 3 with 2 Ks during a 3-game series against the Brewers, and said he was also visited by a ghost in his bed at the Pfister Hotel on the first night and slept, quote, not good, not good.
Pfister? Yeah, absolutely.
He said, he says, quote, I've seen ghosts plenty of times. So the first time was after his back surgery in 2011. He felt a spirit on his chest that awoke him. Then he felt the bed slump.
Oh,
I think that's called Percocet. Dude. But I was scared at first, so I didn't want to open my eyes. I dealt with a lot more times after that. Said he was lying on his side when he felt a spirit crawling up behind him, then felt a hug and heard some murmuring in his ear.
oh my God.
Oh my God. It says it means there's a ghost. There's a ghost. I said, I hope it's a girl. Haha, just kidding. You know, I've dealt with it so many times. I don't really care anymore. So he's now leaned into his phasmophobia.
I wonder if it's just him, or maybe it's something more cultural, like are Koreans generally more believing of the supernatural and ghosts?
It's funny that you say that, because he says that he had so many teammates that have all when he was with
now I want to ask Ha-Sung Kim about that.
when he was in Korea, he said there's a lot of his teammates that felt the same way, and they would also they were visited by spirits, which is just wild stuff. But as usual, Jesse knocked it out of the park.
I don't have a fear of the number 13. I do have a fear of getting drilled by a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, though, which number 13 was last night after Juan Soto's home run in the 7th inning led to a couple of ejections, but no, at least noticeable response yet by the San Diego Padres. And I say yet because there is one more game this season between the Padres and the Pirates this afternoon, and it kind of sets the stage for a little tension in this game today. We will talk about it and yesterday's very important 5-1 win for your San Diego Padres, finally beating the Pittsburgh Pirates for the first time this season yesterday. Fernando Tatis Jr. called it a must-win game. I believe the Padres are now 1-1 in must-win games.
Indeed.
Which is not good. You really need to go undefeated in must-win games, but hey, they got the one yesterday that they had to get. We will have our Padres wrap-up of yesterday's action coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by BalancePro.org. Are you planning to purchase a home this year? Balance offers pre-purchase counseling and education to help you get ready. Make a free appointment with Balance by visiting BalancePro.org or call 888-456-2227. All right, we'll check traffic, then come back. We got our full Padres wrap up and quite a bit to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
In last night's game. Tension, drama, pitching, a little bit of everything last night at Echo Park. It's coming up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Well, guys, we're getting reports of a spin out now on the eastbound side of the 8 right before Lake Murray. This car is facing the wrong way in the center divide, partially in the fast lane. So take it extra carefully. That's East 8 before Lake Murray. And if you're taking the Via de la Valle off ramp northbound 5, watch out for a tire reported in the right lane of that ramp. Coach Quintero and Joe Musgrove's Choice. They're a different kind of dealership looking to be a solid community partner and deliver excellent service. Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Chevrolet, find new roads. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Miss any of yesterday's Padres game?
Did you catch a game last night?
Well, we've got you covered.
Thank you.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Go! It's our house right here, baby.
Presented by Hamel Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamel Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamel Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
That is the ball game, and that is a winner. This about damn time.
Here's the 1-0, and he hits that one well on a line out towards left center. Soto on the move, not going to get there. It'll bounce past him up against the base of the wall. Santana's rounding third. They're going to send him on his way. Bogart's relay to the plate is not in time. An RBI double for Henry Davis. And the Pirates jump in front 1-0 here in the second. Here's the 2-1. Manny swings, hits it in the air to deep left field. Connor Joe going back, looking up. It's going to go. A home run for Manny. Third of his career against Rich Hill. And just like that, this game is tied. Hesitation before the 0-2. Sanchez waits on it and hits one on a line into left center for a base hit. Xander's rounding third. He'll come in to score. RBI single Gary Sanchez, and the Padres in front for the very first time tonight. Here's the 2-2 from Snell, and that is a swing and a miss, strike three. Reynolds tried to check, could not. Slams down the helmet in frustration, and the Pirates leave them loaded. Joe and Rodriguez lead at first and second. Now the 1-2 pitch. That's lined into left field. Soto coming in, dives forward, and he made the catch. For the third time tonight, we're going to hang a star. Juan Soto doing what he needed to do to keep this game right where it's at. 3-1 to Soto, 2 outs, nobody on, and he sends this one in the air. Deep to right field, upper deck maybe. No, but it's gone, a home run. Juan Soto with a long shot to right. And the Padres finally add to their lead. It's 3-1 here in the seventh. There's Manny. Oh, he hit it. 98-mile-an-hour fastball. And Machado kind of looking out at Perdomo. Still looking, very slowly walking up the first baseline. Now the umpires are kind of putting themselves between Machado and the pitcher's mound. Tumpane, the home plate umpire, sort of walking Manny up the line. Santana talking to Machado, the first baseman, and this is really the first time all year I've seen a Padre player very upset about this one, and you can certainly understand why.
I mean, Manny hasn't relinquished his bat yet. That's one of those pitches that catches you in the right spot that it's immediate anger, especially coming right after the home run, catches him right in the back.
Here's the pitch from Moreta, and that's hit in the air to deep left center field. Reynolds and Joe going back. They're at the wall. It's going to go. Home run into the bullpen. I think Hader caught it with his glove. He did. A 2-run shot for Gary Sanchez and a 5-1 Padre lead in the eighth. 1-2 to Connor Joe. Hader delivers and a swing and a miss. Josh Hader strikes out the side here in the ninth inning, and the Padres even the series with a 5-1 win over the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Not get off to a great start. and then the second inning was big for us to score a couple of runs after they scored. I don't necessarily think it was just the Pirates. It's just responding from what have been really tough losses for us this year. I think the one thing we have done well is played well, and when it looks like it's dire need of a good game, and we end up responding with it. We need more of them.
Well, they got one yesterday, 5-1 over the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we can talk about Blake Snell's performance, Juan Soto, amazing catch, big hit. Gary Sanchez had a huge night. We can go through all the details, but let's just fast forward right ahead to that hit by pitch of Manny Machado by Angel Perdomo coming right after the home run by Juan Soto. And the umpires didn't react immediately. It wasn't the old right away you point at the pitcher and throw him out of the game. They had to wait for a couple of minutes. They discussed it, got together as a group, then ejected Angel Perdomo. And after that, Derek Shelton came out, argued, and he got ejected rather quickly, the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Is there any debate among the three of us that anyone did anyone not feel that was an intentional hit by pitch?
No, I mean the fact that he walked down the mound at Manny after. Look, it is the big leagues, and rarely do you see. It's rare to see a pitcher go, "My bad, dude, got away." Like it happens, and you'll see it every now and then. In the big leagues, you're stoic, and you're stoic when you get hit by the pitch. Don't touch it, don't rub it. It's just a whole bunch of stoicism.
You'll see frustration though by the pitcher when let that one get away.
God, you're mad. And they don't necessarily apologize.
No, but you can tell right away
contrition. Like you see contrition.
They didn't want to throw it there. They didn't want to put a runner on,
especially after in that moment. If he wasn't trying to hit Manny, it happened the first pitch after that bomb. He would. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like
at least something. like kick the dirt, something. So the fact that Soto hits it, watches it for a minute, runs around the bases slowly as he does, hits home plate, claps, points to the heavens as he does for his 20th home run of the year, and the next pitch is 98 at the back.
Now, dude, Don and Mud. I don't remember who made the point, but somebody made the point that in the last at bat, the Soto at bat, he obviously it didn't work out, but he was pitching around him. He was hitting spots. He was trying to avoid the strike zone, and he was hitting those spots.
Oh, yeah.
So he had the accuracy.
Yeah, he
knew exactly what he was doing.
And so he hits, man. He kind of walks down. That's what got me is, you want to fight. And I'll tell you this, man, 100 games we've watched this year.
Yeah.
Last night was what, 102? The first time that I have gotten off my ass, out of my bed, and screamed an inch away from the TV. It was like last year. I felt like I'm back. Me, personally, I was incensed when that happened. And I went, this is what I've been waiting for. It sucks it had to happen to Manny, but I go, for me personally, I was red. I saw red when it happened. I was livid. I screamed two very bad words at the TV. My kids were asleep, thank God. But I was livid, man. And then my brain started thinking, okay, we need this dub. And we need this dub as bad as any team has ever needed a dub. My God, do we need this win? And it wasn't, at that point, it was 3-1. And I thought to myself, all right, Robert Suarez coming back. He's going to come out in the 8th, fresh off an injury, trying to find his footing. I don't necessarily feel like he needs to dot the first guy, which, by the way, the first guy was the guy campaigning the hardest that Cabrera did nothing wrong. And that was Carlos Santana, who knows Manny well. And he was trying to sell Manny. Dude, it wasn't intentional. He was also leading off the inning. So I think that probably had something to do with it.
Looks up.
He's like, oh, crap. God, I'm next. I'm dead. Your brain. And actually, Suarez's first pitch, you see him a little bit. It's like a high fastball, nowhere near. He's like just a little bit of a flip. He was ready. He's veteran. He's been around a long time. But I was pretty pissed. And I thought to myself, and I tweeted it. I said, it doesn't have to happen tonight, but it needs to happen. And the reason it needs to happen, in my opinion, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't. But I think a well-placed, at the hip, at the butt, little message to say you can't do that to our captain, man, after we hit a bomb off you. If you don't like it, pitch better, and you're going to have to wear one. And I think there's enough guys over in that Pirates team that realize that. Like if you're Andrew McCutchen, you're leading off today, he may be the perfect guy to do it too.
But the Padres can't afford to have Seth Lugo get ejected.
No, they can't, and it doesn't have to.
Game.
It doesn't have to be the first pitch. It doesn't have to be the first inning. If you get a 5-1, 6-1 lead, or whatever, if you're Seth Lugo, you have to let other teams know you don't get to come in here and hit our captain in the back with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. You just can't do it. And
now are the umpires? Do you think?
There'll be probably warnings before the game.
And if that happens, and Lugo hits someone in the first inning, he's gone. And now you've got an incredibly important.
You don't have to do it first.
You don't have to do it in the first.
I mean, be slick about it. Don't be overt. Overt is Lugo at McCutcheon's butt. First pitch, Lugo's out after one pitch. That does us no good. None. Because I know we have an off day. Still, man, we're still the pitching rotation is still kind of up in the air for the Rangers series, which is a huge series. They're all huge series. So again,
you got to win this series.
You got to win this series today.
I don't want to see 9 innings of bullpen catch can trying to figure out how to get through this game. You got to win the game today and win the series. You already lost the first game.
Well, you know who the onus is on then? The onus is on the offense to come out and put up about 9 runs.
If you want revenge, that's the best way to do it.
That's the best way to do it. And I firmly believe that, it's the type of thing that alone kind of help bring the team together a little bit more than we've seen this year. You saw the guys all on the first step, like over the fence, ready to go in case Manny,
Toddy was like hot.
He was hot mad, dude. We needed that. I needed it as a fan. I needed some sort of spark. So, look, Bob Melvin is as crafty and savvy as it comes. All of those guys are. Manny knows. I loved Manny's comments after the game, Paulie, talking about getting dotted.
We give up a bomb like that, I mean, I'll be mad too. I'm not gonna lie. I guess people don't respect people anymore. I guess that's what's changed. 300 pumps in the show, and
pumps, by the way.
That's a whole
10 years plus.
I didn't know that.
But it just is what it is. I mean, ain't no worry. We got the win, which is the most important part.
What a badass.
Nothing was broken, so we're good.
We're going to go live to Stephen Woods, who was dotted by that 98-mile-an-hour fastball. He's currently under sedation in the hospital. Like, what a tank, dude. It hurt like a son of a bitch, too. There's just no way there's not a big old welt on his back today.
Juan Soto was a little more direct in
was.
his comments after the game. Here's what Soto had to say.
He's not right, and then after he hit him, he literally charged to the plate. So I think that's not right. He shouldn't do that because he's hitting, but he's putting his teammates in damage too. Because we got pitchers that throw hard too. So at the end of the day, it's all. If you don't want to give up homers, strike out people. So at the end of the day, you gotta learn. You gotta learn from it and move forward.
Now, before anyone in Pittsburgh or even in San Diego, obviously not on this show, but anyone says, well, Juan Soto shouldn't have, slow walked his home run as much or celebrated as much.
He didn't really do anything that he doesn't do.
Well, everyone in baseball now celebrates their home run. Every team has an elaborate prop celebration on a home run in the dugout.
What do the Pirates do? They walk a plank with a Jolly Roger and a sword or
Everyone
something?
crosses home plate, usually looks to the sky, whatever.
Yeah.
And by the way, Juan Soto, I mean, not as though he's a rookie who just, it's my third big league home run. I'm going to show up this veteran relief pitcher that, it wasn't Madison Bumgarner who was pitching.
Bro, that guy
Juan Soto is a perennial all-star who has hit 20 home runs now in 5 seasons already at age 24.
Let me give you the list.
Home runs.
You ready for the list?
I saw this list. This is the list that Juan Soto now belongs to as guys with 5 20 home run seasons before completing the age of 24.
There are only 12 in baseball history. Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, Giancarlo Stanton, Alex Rodriguez, Ken Griffey Jr., Tony Conigliaro, who would have been one of the better players in baseball had he not worn a pitch to the face, Orlando Cepeda, Frank Robinson, Mickey Mantle, Eddie Matthews, and Mel Ott. I believe there's a lot of Hall of Famers in there, and then there's a lot of future Hall of Famers ballots as well. And so that's the company that Juan Soto is in. That is the guy that I'd say 40% of our fan base is looking to move for prospects. It doesn't make sense to me. He is elite, and hitting a pitch like that off of that guy, where he hit that last night, that's what he's capable of. I wasn't as mad as at the Hassan Kim steal last night, Ben, as I was the night before. You had a lead, you're being aggressive, but it proves my point of that's what can happen when you have those thumpers behind you. Juan Soto being, you know me, I'm not a big victory lap guy, so I'm not going to take a victory lap on that one. He did swipe a bag earlier. Again, up. Up is fine. You're down 4. You can't get thrown out on the base paths. And because you have that guy behind you.
I don't know that you can ever get thrown out on the base paths.
No, I know. But you know what I'm saying.
You have to make it. If you're going to go in baseball nowadays, there's always a thumper behind you in baseball for the most part.
No.
A lot of times, though, there's especially for Hassan Kim. Hassan Kim is never going to be on the base paths. He's never going to be on the base paths without
a thumper.
So he has, 17, 18 steals?
Yeah.
So every time he's gone, he's done so with the knowledge that there's someone who can easily hit a home run.
You're
pretty much.
You're blank.
He's either been at the bottom of the lineup with those guys about to come up, or at the top of the lineup.
That's like saying in football, you should always pass because the opportunity to pass is going to net you more yards than running. That's not true. If you're in the fourth quarter and you're down, you probably need to pass the ball and conserve clock. If you're in the fourth quarter and you're up, you probably want to run the ball. It's strategy. There's different strategies for different points of the game. In the fifth inning, I really don't care if you're up a run and you get tossed stealing. I don't care. It's not as important as if you're down 4 runs in the 7th inning and you're trying to make a comeback and then you get thrown out, right? Like there's a time and place. That's when you are passing the football. You're passing in that scenario in baseball. In football, you're running, right? So it just doesn't make any sense why he would do that the night before. I didn't really care much about last night. I'm like, yeah, it sucks. It should be 4-1 now. That being said, you're up a run.
Kind of funny though. It's the opposite though. When you're trailing in football, that's when you need to be more aggressive, take more chances.
Right, passing.
You feel like baseball is the opposite. When you're trailing, you need to take less chances.
Well, you need to take the best opportunity to score the most points the fastest. Right. And that would be with a 2-run homer from Juan Soto.
All right. We will come back. Hour number 2 of Ben and Woods. Take on Woods and more next on 97.3 The Fan. Gotta say, I was pretty proud of San Diego last night. A Tuesday night in July. And I don't remember this ever happening when I was growing up, where, I mean, I guess we didn't have two big stadiums when I was growing up. We had
one,
just Jack Murphy. But after Petco Park was built, even 20 years ago in the Murphy, I don't remember having one night where both venues were completely sold out. Now, Snapdragon Stadium, a little smaller than the Q, but they had a sellout crowd at Petco Park. Again, 43,000 plus, 41st sellout in 48 home dates this year. And they also had a record standing room only sellout crowd at Snapdragon Stadium last night for the Manchester United Wrexham AFC soccer friendly. So you had almost 80,000 fans packing San Diego's two sports venues yesterday on a midweek Tuesday in July in summer. I mean, there are sports fans all over the place now. You know, there's soccer, there's baseball. Clearly, San Diego has become even more of a soccer town now. It was always a grassroots soccer town, but with the MLS coming, you saw so many Man U fans. There were a ton of Manchester United fans here yesterday, all over the place. A lot of people, though, like Wrexham as well. You've seen the Wave get record support for their home games at Snapdragon Stadium. The Loyal have some of the most vocal supporters in San Diego. The Padres have been absolutely killing it. The Gulls get some of the best attendance in the AHL, usually one or two every single year in that league. You've got, newer teams that are doing well and making inroads like the Seals and the Legion that are getting more and more popular. I'm going to boldly say San Diego is as good of a sports town now as it has ever been, which is crazy thinking someone outside is you lost the Chargers, San Diego, weakest sports town in the country. Totally disagree. This is especially now a phenomenal sports town. Phenomenal.
Yeah, it was jam-packed at Petco last night. It was just absolutely jam-packed, and the place came alive later in the game, and it was awesome. I mean, it's awesome to see, and the players feel it. You know they want to win for the team. They want to win for the city. They do. I firmly believe. A lot of people talk about quit and hard. We were down 1-0 yesterday. I was getting DMs from guys that are like, I can't do this anymore. Bro, you turn the game off, man. We got a lot of time to get to Rich Hill here. We're gonna be okay. Man, maybe we won't, but I don't see a lack of effort. I see dumb things. I see weird plays. I see terrible routes to balls. I see all the stuff that you see in a regular baseball season. Their record sucks. There's no beating around the bush. Their record is terrible for the talent level on that team. It's terrible. But I'm not seeing really anything different in this team yet. And that's because we are still in it. And like I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, if there comes a point where we are out of it, I'm going to be watching this team like a hawk, because people packing Petco Park, hey, man, it sucks you guys are out of it. You have nobody to blame but yourself. You still need to give max effort every night, and we cannot see what happened in 21. We just can't. We watched it, and they said it. This isn't a media spitting a narrative. They said, yeah, we quit. It was over. That cannot happen again. If you have your core and your core is here to stay, that core needs to do their very best to bust their tails every single night, because 41 to 43,000 people are busting their tails. They're sitting in traffic. They're paying through the nose. They're buying expensive beers and micheladas and everything else and merchandise for as far as the eye can see in this city. As far as the eye can see, Padres merchandise. You owe that to the fans. You do.
2019, team fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
2020, made the playoffs.
Yep.
2021, team fell off a cliff, gave up. 2022, made the playoffs.
Yep.
What's going to happen in 2023?
I don't want to get one of those weird streaks going. The Giants odd or even year. I don't want that. I'll take a damn solid 89 wins for the next decade, and we'll see where the chips may fall. As we know, the regular season is important, but the only thing that matters is October. That's it. You have to bust your tail every single day to try to get to October. That's all that matters.
We have confirmed with Adam Jones will be with us in 30 minutes, bottom of the hour. All guests appearing on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. And if you want to call us up right now, you can be our contestant for Take on Woods. Going to play in about 3 or 4 minutes. Chance to qualify. Last couple of days here to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas in the month of July. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Now, is Blake Snell going to be part of that core going forward? When you talk about the core, there is a chance. I think it's a low chance, but there is a chance that he made his last start in a San Diego Padres uniform last night. And if it was a very Blake Snellian performance. Once
sure
again,
was, man.
by Blake Snell. Went 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 5 walks, only struck out 4. Maybe that was the most unusual part of it. But when he needed the strikeouts, 2 of them came with the bases loaded and 1 out in the 5th inning, just like in his previous start. He danced out of the trouble.
He is a wizard.
That
He's
he
got to
needed
change.
dance out of.
He's got to change the spikes from the Snellzilla scales to like a Merlin theme, like some sort of wizardry. Who's that weird, creepy magician? David Copperfield. Maybe get David Copperfield on the back of your spikes. I mean, he is truly, like, you hate it. You hate that he puts himself in those situations, and it's massively frustrating still when he's can't. Like, it's Austin Hedges up there, and you can't spot up like a 95-mile-an-hour fastball to Austin Hedges, and you want to die. You want to die because you're like, this is the guy in jeans filling in for an adult league team. He's as good a hitter as the guy in jeans that had to come in to be the 9th guy on an adult league team. Throw the fastball. If he hits it, tip your hat, right?
97,
just
right there.
Just throw it to him, right?
Challenge.
He's going to roll it over.
Hedges.
The play man he made on Hedges was ungodly.
The defense all around.
He was
Fernando Tatis Jr.
Dude, yeah.
My
How about how
God.
he started the game? I thought he was.
Juan Soto.
I thought he was done. I thought Nando was done.
Well,
That
I
looked
think a
so
lot of us
painful.
I started
that
racking my brain and go, which shoulder was hurt? Which one? Left
Yeah,
or right? Oh
yeah.
my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
A lot of us thought the foul pole wasn't padded the way
I thought
he
it
smashed
wasn't.
into it. It was shown later that it was. I think even Mudd said there's no padding out there.
He
And there
did.
is.
He did.
There is padding on that wall. And
Not enough.
It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt when you crash into it.
Am I in other stadiums? Isn't it usually the wall extends and there's just a yellow line
painted onto the wall
instead of the actual pole? I'm like, who do we got to talk to get that pole? If he's gonna be your right fielder for a long time, I'd like to not see him banging into that thing very much more. That look, I go, oh no. What a catch. What a catch. And then Soto's catch to bail Steven Wilson out of a pretty shaky performance for Steven as he's still trying to locate since he's gotten back. The catch Juan Soto made, game saver. I mean, absolute game saver, Ben. The way things have been going this year, you said it before the show started. That ball falls and 2-run score, and the guy ends up on third base. Period. The end. It was a magnificent catch from Juan Soto, and followed it up with a magnificent home run. It was one of my favorite wins of the year. I know it's the Pirates. Doesn't matter, man. There are no more of those teams where you can say, well, it's just the so-and-sos. Every team is playing this team hard. We need to do the same.
Ultimately, Padres get the job done on the mound. Blake Snell lowered his ERA to 2.61. It is the best of any qualified starting pitcher in baseball, which is surprising a lot of people. They didn't realize that Blake Snell is the leader in ERA. But AJ Cassavell, who will be our 9 a.m. guest this morning, blew me away with a stat. Blake Snell leads the league in both ERA and walks. That is a really hard double to pull off.
Holy cow, dude.
To lead the league in walks, so you've got a ton of traffic on there. You're putting yourself in trouble all the time. That almost always comes back to bite you.
No doubt.
When you do that.
No doubt.
I mean, that is, I bet there's never been a pitcher in history who has led the league in ERA and walks. Now, strikeouts and walks for sure. Did he lead the league in walks?
No, Nolan was a high strikeout guy, but his ERA was always through the roof, it felt like.
Because he walked a lot of guys.
Nolan?
Yeah.
Did he? Was he a high walk guy too? Yeah. I knew
most high strikeout guys tend to be higher walk guys. Part of it is just when batters swing and miss, when they don't put the ball into play, you just up there longer. There's a better chance you're going to walk.
Yeah.
A guy he makes contact on the first 2 pitches, he never walks. But when you swing and miss the first 2, there's a chance that maybe you come back and you end up walking in that at bat. So strikeout guys are always going to walk more guys as well. That's just part of the job when you're a strikeout guy. Hey, if they can't hit it, eventually I'm going to have to throw a strike because they're not, if they stop swinging, I've got to get it over the plate.
I swear to God, I can't remember the last time Blake Snell just pumped like a 95-mile-an-hour fastball by somebody. It feels like all of his strikeouts are on that 48-foot curveball that looks like a heater coming out of his hand. Connor, I mean, all these guys, Connor Joe, all these dudes are just like, what am I?
I mean, you see teams are now the strategy. They know his stuff is so nasty. I'm sure the scouting report is really, if you're unsure, just don't swing.
Don't swing.
Just don't swing. And, there's a chance he's going to walk you because he's walked a bunch lately. And if you swing, there's a good chance you're not going to hit it because it's almost impossible to hit.
He's not only striking out guys, he's absolutely embarrassing guys up there. Great performance by him. I mean, great. As great of a performance as you can have walking 5 guys for sure. And again, pitched out of trouble. I love the combo though, guys. I do. I love the combo of the Wilson, Suarez, Hader. Probably didn't need Hader last time. It was important to get him a little bit of work. But man, I mean, had we had this all season, God knows what the record would be.
It's a little risky, but I love the combination of both catchers in the lineup.
Oh, it was fantastic. And you have to ride it, Paulie, until you have to ride it. You just do. And
Gary, 3 for 4.
I know you're
ribbies in a bomb.
You're bummed if one of those guys tweaks a hammy or something, and then you gotta, potentially lose the DH, but then you can put in then what are you doing? You're putting Taylor Colway in or something like that. You need one more bat, man. It really solves everything. Campusano looks so hitterish up there. Gary Sanchez, I think it was his 10th home run in 155 plate appearances. Austin Nola had 9 home runs in 819 plate appearances in 237 games. Gary Sanchez has played 44 games. 44. As opposed to 237, he has 1 more home run than Austin.
Been a huge pickup.
Huge.
Random, but huge pickup for the Padres.
3 stakes last night, 3 knocks. It was awesome.
All right, we gotta get rolling. We got AJ coming up. We got Don't Do This. And first, a little take on Woods. I got to take on Woods regular on the line because I see Steve is in today. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I'd love to see you qualify for the trip to Vegas at the Westgate. 2 tickets to Skid Row and Warrant on the 30th of September at the International Theater. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. If you beat or tie Woods, you know it. You qualify for our grand prize drawing. Here are your categories today in Take on Woods. Is everybody in? Those are 5 musical answers that begin with the word everybody. In Your Face is actually uses the phrase in your somewhere in the title of the songs. And the new category, Wipe Away Those Tears, 5 songs with either cry or crying in the title. So, Steve, is everybody in Your Face, or Wipe Away Those Tears? What'll it be?
Oh, wow. Let's try the Tears.
Wipe Away Those Tears. All right. The new category today, 5 songs with either cry or crying in the title. You'll have 60 seconds. Pass if you don't know it. We'll start with our 2-second song. You give me the title and the artist to score the point in the clip that Paulie is about to play. And Woods comes in. We compare scores. You beat or tie him. You are into the drawing. Steve, are you ready?
Yes.
Paul, you ready? All right. 60 seconds on the clock. Category, Wipe Away Those Tears. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Steve. Let's take on Woods.
Journey, Who's Crying Now?
Correct. A heartbroken man tries to hide the hurt, in which 1979 hit by The Cure.
Pass.
Which lead single from the Purple Rain album turned into Prince's first Billboard #1 hit in 1984?
When Doves Cry.
Correct. Versions of which song by Dave Barry and Boy George were both used in a 1992 film of the same name about an IRA member's affair with a trans hairdresser?
Pass.
In 1996, the Fugees covered which 1975 reggae hit by Bob Marley and the Wailers?
Oh, man. I'll Cry for You, something like that?
No. A heartbroken man tries to hide the hurt, in which 1979 hit by The Cure?
Pass. I don't know.
Versions of which song by Dave Barry and Okay, well, I don't think 2 is going to get it done. You got Who's Crying Now, Journey, and When Doves Cry. I feel like Woods is going to get Boys Don't Cry by The Cure. Loves The Cure. The Crying Game was that movie with Stephen Ray, Forrest Whitaker, Boy George sang one of the song versions in that movie. And the Bob Marley song is No Woman, No Cry.
Steve said, "Oh man, I want to." Not man.
It's not. It's No Woman, No Cry. All right, let's bring Woods in. I put him as a 1 to 10 favorite here. All right, Steve's score is locked in. Steve versus Steve battle today. Reset the questions and the clock. 60 seconds. Don't get the category. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Steve.
Who's crying now, Journey?
Correct. A heartbroken man tries to hide the hurt in which 1979 hit by The Cure.
Boys Don't Cry.
Correct. Which lead single from the Purple Rain album turned into Prince's first #1 hit?
When Doves Cry.
Correct. Versions of which song by Dave Barry and Boy George were both used in a 1992 film of the same name about an IRA member's affair with a trans hairdresser?
The Crying Game.
Correct. In 1996, the Fugees covered which 1975 reggae hit by Bob Marley and the Wailers?
No Woman, No Cry.
That is a 5 for 5,
That is it.
and you win 5 to 2 today. I thought you'd pull that one out there.
That's what she said.
Very good. You remember the stir about the Crying Game?
Oh,
movie?
yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Very
Good movie, actually.
Very controversial. Very good movie.
Very good
Stephen
movie.
Ray, Forrest Whitaker, Jay Davidson.
Forrest Whitaker's a badass.
He
kinda,
is.
man.
I love Forrest Whitaker.
He's a G. He needs to be in more stuff. Where's he been? Is he all right? What's he been doing? That dude's awesome. Everything I've ever seen him in, I've been like, oh, hell yeah.
He was in some of the Star Wars stuff
Was he?
recently. Yeah.
He's a G, man.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with a Don't Do This, Adam Jones at the bottom of the hour. When you're in the media, you can never win with coaches.
No,
you
can't
can
win.
never, ever
It's true.
win. That's
It's the
some
cross
audio.
we bear, my friend.
Yeah, have some audio from that coming up. And more next with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
It's time for Don't Do This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron. Dumbass.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't Do This
Do not tweet that.
with Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
Grangetto's Farm and Garden Supply is teaming up with 97.3 The Fan to give one lucky listener the chance to win a luxury suite for 20 people to the upcoming home baseball game on Monday, September 18th versus Colorado. Visit 973thefansd.com/garden for details and enter to win. All right, Woodsy, get us started today on Don't Do This.
I will get us started. Mine is a fairly quick one, but a pretty easy target for Don't Do This. That is umpire C.B. Buckner, who had himself a night last night in the Jays-Dodgers game in L.A. My man missed 24 calls last night. 24 calls. So if you go to Twitter, Umpire Auditor is really fun. I like the Umpire Auditor. I like the other
Umpire
scorecard.
Yeah.
It's always fun. Umpire Auditor is where you find it. So he missed 24 calls, and they show them. They show the calls he missed. And some of them you look at and you go, woo, man. Like, it makes you wonder, what game are you watching, dude? It's currently ranked. So that's a correct call rate, Ben, of only 86%. Buckner is currently ranked 76 out of 85 umpires, which is a nice improvement from last year when he was 89 of 91.
Ooh.
And there's just seemingly no repercussion. I mean, he'll be back
suspended, pay docs,
something. He'll be back.
None of that happens.
Back behind the dish in 4 days? Doing it all again. And you just,
unless it's his turn to take vacation during the 6 months that they actually work.
Right.
During the year.
Exactly. But yeah, they're very, very tough watch for Dodgers and Jays fans. And I don't know how it evened out. 12-12. I have no idea. But 24 missed calls behind the plate last night is just a rough look for an umpire.
And I'll go to college football for my DDT today. And as a member of the media who has, from time to time been on the withering glare end from players and coaches after a question that sometimes just has to be asked. But I
remember Eric Hosmer
was
very mad at you. Who else in your career?
Probably Norv Turner, Marty Schottenheimer, a lot of football coaches.
Who was the scariest?
Especially, Marty was kind of intimidating. Yeah. Marty was a bit intimidating.
I believe it.
So, football coaches, just they're always like that.
Surly.
Jim Harbaugh.
Surly.
Speaking of Jim Harbaugh, actually, this guy was Harbaugh's assistant at Michigan until last year. Was a former high school coach that Harbaugh had hired. Biff Poggi. He was hired as the new head coach at Charlotte this offseason. And Charlotte was at Conference USA. Now they're in the AAC, and it was AAC Media Day. And, all the coaches get up and do their press conference and answer questions from the media. Now, Charlotte, not one of the more, talked about teams in the conference. So he gets up. There's a little, there's a few people sitting in the folding chairs asking questions. Couple questions, get third question, and then
this is the end of the third question.
It's the end of the third question, and here's what happened with Biff.
So we're in that game, and we want to be in it, and we're going to stay in it. That's it. 3 questions.
Oh God.
Maybe that's because you have us ranked last. That's all what you think of us.
Ooh.
So that we get that message. Thank you.
Oh.
So he's mad that they didn't ask him enough questions. Most coaches, are we done yet? Can we go? And then they get mad. There's one more question, coach. One more question. Now this guy.
That's it. 3 questions.
Finally gets the dream. 3 questions. Yeah, you're done, coach. Not happy about it. Storms off. I'm making a point. I guess the media picked his team to finish last. He was a little surly about that. They didn't have the respect to challenge him on everything, or maybe learn about his team a little bit more.
Coach Steve Woods here from 97.3 The Fan. Can you talk about just your offensive strategy going into the season? Just the most generic. Like, that's the thing. You think he'd be elated. That's it. All right. See you guys next time. Have a good one. Boy.
Coach, what's your favorite movie you've
Yeah,
ever seen?
he took it very, very personally. Very personally.
Now, my sub don't do this is a grown man.
What's the college again he's at?
Charlotte 49ers.
Never heard of
Charlotte.
Yeah, sure. University of Charlotte. University of North Carolina, Charlotte.
UNC
Charlotte. Yeah.
All right.
UNCC. Now, his full name is Francis Xavier Poggi.
Okay.
Poggi. But he goes by Biff. Do you know anyone anymore that goes by Biff? I mean, pretty much Back to the Future ruined Biffs for
Long
most
time.
people for the last, 35 years.
Biff is actually a negative, has a negative
Right.
connotation.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're a skateboarder and you wipe out a Biff.
Well, if you're anything, if you can biff on, I was walking in the living room, my kids left their Hot Wheels out, and I biffed all over the floor.
Yeah.
Which happens all the time in my house. I biff a lot.
Might be time for a new nickname, Coach Biff.
Coach Biff. Biff.
Biff.
It's not even like short for anything. Bifford. It's
No,
not.
it's
It's just like, hey, I'll just make up a name. A funny word. Biff.
Yeah, I really liked the villain in that time travel movie. I'm going to go by Biff.
Biff. I don't know. The UNCC Charlotte, the University of North Carolina Charlotte 49ers is a football team that I didn't know existed.
They just moved up. They moved up
did
the
they?
conference this year.
Well, I mean, then of course you're going to be picked last, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
They're
whatever
in over their heads now.
whatever it takes to fire you up. I don't really have anything positive. There's nothing for.
That's
to
it.
do
We're
this.
done.
That's about
Well,
it.
you know
Yeah,
what?
we're
Here's
right on
something
time.
positive. Adam Jones
Yeah, very
going
positive.
to join us coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Sour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by SC Johnson Raid. Well, here we are, another week. Last Wednesday, we had AJ in studio, Adam Jones, talking about where the Padres might stand as they approach the trade deadline. And somehow we get closer and closer without any actual, decision that can really be made about which direction this team's going to go.
Sure.
One day, it's like, it's time to sell. The next day, it's time to buy. We will talk with Adam Jones.
I want to hear about on-field retaliation.
Ooh, as do
Yeah, I do too.
From somebody that knows Manny Machado very well.
He saw it.
Oh, yeah.
We will get to all of that right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
A couple things might slow you down. Rollover crash on southbound 125 at the westbound King Freeway connector ramp. Tow truck is on scene. Does not appear to be blocking lanes, though, but do expect some congestion there. That's southbound 125 at the westbound King. And eastbound King Freeway at 28th Street, several vehicles got into it. They all made it over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's go ahead.
All right. There we go.
Now we can go out to our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. He's gone coast to coast this week from San Diego back to the East Coast, not back to Europe yet, though. Adam Jones is back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. The travel's still going well for you, AJ?
I got no complaints, but I know my guy is pissed off right now. I'm mad, too.
You're talking about Manny Machado, of course.
Yeah, that hurt. And that dude Perdomo, I don't even know who that. He don't even know who he is. You can't do that, young man.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, Adam, and I know it's not even the early 90s. I know it's not the 80s. I know it's not the 70s, the 60s, whatever. That says something though. When I said it, I tweeted it last night. Doesn't have to be tonight, but it has to be at some point. Somebody's got to wear one in the hip, right? Like you have to let people know you can't just take shots at our captain 98 up around the head,
Nah, you cannot. Unfortunately, you can't. And the thing is like there's no real reason to do that. There's no rivalry there. There's Pittsburgh and San Diego has no rivalry. Maybe Dominican. I mean, maybe they go back to when they was kids. I don't know, but it's gonna suck because Reynolds or McCutch. Hey, put on a hockey mask, something today. Put on chest protector today, boys. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? Because you can't do that, and it's part of the game. I don't know who's on the bump today.
Seth Lugo.
Oh yeah, somebody's getting one. Yeah, hell yeah. He's got that's a heavy 96. Somebody's gonna get one right into that elbow back area and keep it moving.
And you wait, right? You wait to get a lead.
What happens if the umpires are all over you? What if they warn everybody? Because the Padres can't afford to lose Seth Lugo in the first inning
or lose this game. We cannot.
Well, if they don't give you a warning, get it out the way.
Okay.
If they don't give you a warning, get it out the way. I mean, but it's again, as you always said, they're just tricky. I mean, you might go up 4-0 in 8th inning, and you got somebody hard throwing come in and
Garcia,
and, let one eat.
Yep.
Yeah, Garcia throw hard. You know what I mean? But you got to get there. You don't know if he's gonna get there.
It's true.
But
McCutchen and Reynolds
again this year.
McCutchen and Reynolds in particular, like they're the ones that are on watch, right?
Is that something you believe in? Yeah, it's got to be a star for a star.
100%. You're not gonna hit Mercado. You're not gonna hit
Figueroa, Austin Hedges.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
You're not. Why did you hit them? No, you don't know. You send the message, and what happens is the veteran that gets hit goes to that young dude and say, "Hey, man, nah.
Yes, that's your ass. It's my ass that got hit. That's the worst.
Exactly. You don't have to hit no more. It hurts. Stop."
And honestly, I mean, does anyone think this was anything more than Perdomo was ticked off about giving up a home run and was just mad and wanted to take it out on someone, and Manny was the next guy up?
100%. I mean, I don't know the history of that. I mean, I don't know Perdomo. I know Machado and I know Soto. I've seen the game. I've seen the situation. Maybe he just got mad. I mean, again, when Soto hits a home run off you, he's like walks like the last 5-6 steps, claps to the heavens. Some people might not like that. I don't know. Hey, Perdomo, you're wrong in this situation, and your teammates are gonna find you hefty when they got that big ice pack on their back after this game.
Talking to Adam Jones here, and since Manny said after maybe I've matured a little bit. Do you think Manny from a decade ago in Baltimore has a different reaction if that play happens?
3 years ago, Manny's out there. Yeah, it's like, okay, first off, it hurts. So you're mad, but it hurts. So it's like, it hurts so bad. And there's really no reason. And that dude is a big dude too. Perdomo ain't a little dude. So, but there's really no reason to really go out there unless it's a rivalry. Like Pittsburgh, there's no rival. Okay, you hit me, cool. We're gonna get one of your dudes. But if it's the Dodgers doing that, all right, that's a little different. If it's San Francisco, it's a little different. Even Arizona now, because they're in the competition, it's a little different. But Pittsburgh, somebody's gonna get one today, and then hey, keep it moving. If you want a drill match, then Padres got some of the hardest throwers in the league. But I mean, you guys need W's, not beanballs, and both teams need W's, not beanballs.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously the win for us is way more important than it is for them, and it's just paramount that we win this game today. Really, and there's not any games left in the season. How do we say no? We can afford to drop that one. We just can't. I mean, they're scrounging and clawing and fighting for a playoff spot, and it's just been a wild thing to watch them not be able to string together 4 wins in a row. It's the 3 is their max that they've won. It's staggering to me. It's the number one stat that continues to blow my mind with all of the talent on this team. And I know it's hard to win 4 games in a row. I know it is, but it shouldn't be this hard for this team.
Yeah, the back and forth, that's what gets you. That's the last road trip, going 5-5, and it's crazy because they played really well, but it's like in the wins they beat the hell out of the team.
Yep.
But in the losses they lost bad, and you're like, come on, like, don't score 14 today, score 8, and then score 8 tomorrow.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, spread it out a little bit.
Only if you can do that. You can roll over the runs. That'd be the greatest thing of all time. It's frustrating as a player. It's frustrating as a fan. But again, like you said, these last 4 games before this trade deadline are monumental because the direction of the team for this year is really on the line. Are you going to get rid of some salary because you don't feel you're making the playoffs? Or are you going to add some salary because you feel you're making a run? Like, so these next 48 hours, or not 48 hours, 4 days are very important for Prowler and this group.
Well, and I know we're talking to Adam Jones here on Ben and Woods this morning. I know you also do the Adam Jones podcast, and I know you were talking recently. I think it was posted yesterday with Jerry Coleman in Baltimore about what the Orioles need to do. I mean, dude, they're playing really well against Tampa. They got a good-ass, exciting team. Did you say you think they need to stand pat, or do they need to go out and do something?
It is crazy because I was talking with somebody the other day, and I take it. I put myself in the situation as the center fielder and as a media person. As a media person, okay, look, there's maybe Snell's out there available, maybe Cease is out there available, maybe there's some other guys that are available. As a center fielder who's been riding with these guys since opening day and we're winning, I don't want nobody. I don't want nobody to come in here and mess up my flow.
Interesting.
As a player, but as a realist, you do need somebody. When you get into a series with Houston, it's going to be a little bit different. When you get in series, in the playoffs, it's a little bit different, and you're gonna need somebody. Now, who is that guy? I don't know. Andrew Miller was our guy in 14. We could have gotten another starter. I don't know if we could have afforded one due to we didn't have as much prospect cash as the Padres, as you guys have, and what the Orioles have. But that's said, it's like both. As a player, I'm like, man, I love my dudes. They out here riding. As a realist, it's like I love these dudes, but when we slow it down, especially in September, you're getting 1s and 2s only. You're not getting the 4s. So there could be a move made. I don't know, but it's just they have the cash to do it, and they have Elias who's made some great moves before. So they have a good plan over here. Hopefully, it leads them to the playoffs.
Adam, I want to ask you about slumps. We were at the park yesterday and saw Jay Cronenworth taking early velocity machine work, and he's notoriously one of the hardest workers that the Padres have, always taking early BP, extra swings in the cage, but he just has not been able to figure out anything this year. what was like, can you remember some of your worst slumps and what you would try to do to get out of it when you were confident you were a better player than what you were showing in the batter's box?
I mean, you see guys do everything from no batting gloves, no protectors. Hey, I'd rather wear it off the shin because I ain't getting no hit. I need some sort of pain or something. Give me something. Drop bunts. Wayne Kirby used to always tell me, he's like, hey man, I don't care how much power you got or whatever. If you ever get 0 for 10 and you don't drop down a bunt or try to do a bunt, you're just wasting your talent. You're wasting your speed. So you see in my career, I drop bunts down. I try to do anything to get a hit. In today's society, they don't value the single. I don't care what you're talking about. Getting on base helps the team. I don't care what you're talking about. I took whatever was given when I was struggling. There was a time I was hitting 222 in June, and Showalter comes in. He's like, look, I think I'm going to sit you today or hit you lead off because you've been struggling. So I was like, look like I'm swinging at the first pitch. I'm not sitting because I'm struggling. I'm grinding through it, but I'm also trying everything possible. Like, you got to be a fool to try the same thing over and over and think it's going to work. That's just not how it works. Sorry. Take off them batting gloves. Take off an elbow pad. Don't wear a sleeve. Put some eye black on. Look like Fernando Tatis one day. Do something. Wear some baggy pants. Wear your pants up. Them pants you got on is tight. Like, there's so many things you can do. You got to change up something. It's baseball. It's a superstitious sport. And, there's no right way to do it. But you just have to change things up. Change up your pregame routine. Maybe not hit as much. Maybe there's so many different things you can do that I did that, because at the end of the day, I was trying to find a hit. And however I found that hit, hey, I'm going back to the well. I came out to Joe West's music because I was struggling. Okay?
Country Joe West.
Like his
love.
music.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, Country Joe.
Bluegrass. Okay?
So, Adam, you just mentioned you had the speed to lay down a bunt every once in a while, and you stole 97 bases in your career. You're around like 10 a year, kind of in your prime sort of guy. Woods and I got into a discussion. Last 2 days, Ha-Sung Kim has been thrown out trying to steal second base. 2 days ago, it was in the 7th inning with the Padres down 4. Yesterday, it was in the 7th inning with the Padres up 1. And on the very next pitch after he got thrown out, Juan Soto hit a solo home run instead of a 2-run home run. And we have been arguing about when is it okay to steal? When is it not okay to steal? What are your thoughts on that now? Are there times where you just absolutely can't go and other times where you are looking to take a base?
Well, the scenario, you can never say that he would hit a 2-run home run if the guy didn't go. If that scenario,
true.
Yeah, if that scenario doesn't play true. There's definitely times you don't go, and that's when late innings with the boppers up. You sit your ass down there, unless you are Dave Roberts or you know what I'm saying.
In a must-have. Yeah, Fernando.
Yes. Okay, Fernando, you can go. Grisham, if it's a must-have. Like, there's situations, but if it's late innings, you in scoring position at first base with Soto up. You in scoring position already? Relax.
Okay, well, why does it matter when it's late innings? Because Kim is always on base with the boppers up. He's been leading off, so when he comes up, he's got Tatis, Soto, Machado, Bogarts always behind him. Isn't that then it's always a bad idea? You should just never try because you're always in scoring position.
But
what makes the difference between the early innings and the late innings?
Ben
that
seems
really
to think
point.
that it doesn't matter.
That's my point.
Stealing in the first is different. It's the same as the ninth.
If it's not a good idea to do it in the 7th, why is it a good idea to do it in the 3rd?
Because you know what because there's no clock, right? But you have a certain number of outs and a certain number of innings that you can play. And if they get the 27th out before you time to score,
if it's a good idea doing it in the 3rd, then I think it should be a good idea doing it in the 7th.
It's not true though. You're chasing 4.
Yeah.
You're chasing 4.
When you get those outs later in the innings, like you need those guys to hit. You need the lineup to turn over more.
You need fewer.
But it's always bad to
but
make
there's
outs.
fewer outs to play with. You get thrown out in the first,
true.
you got 24 outs left. Okay, BFD. You get thrown out in the 8th, you got 4 outs to play with, and that's where you run out of time. And even though there's no clock, there's still time that can run out. And when you're chasing 4, you don't go, especially with Juan Soto and Manny Machado.
But isn't it also possible that if you don't steal, then you roll into a double play there where you could have avoided an out by going?
Yeah, Benny, but like,
I mean, there's so many. As Adam always says, you never know what's going to happen.
Well,
there's so many. If you think you can make it, if you think it's a good play, you
better
go.
make it.
And if you
better
don't,
make
if you're
it.
not sure, then you shouldn't go.
Adam, how many? I think I've asked you this before in one of our first interviews, but wouldn't it stagger the everyday fan to know A, how few steals a manager calls, one, and then B, how many guys actually have the green light in Major League Baseball?
Not many people have the green light.
Really?
And my boy Quinn Berry, the first base coach, I talked to him a lot about, who has the green lights and who doesn't. And he's like, very few people really have it. And the steal sign comes to the first base coach nowadays.
Yeah.
It does not go to the third base coach. The third base coach is over there doing, I'm talking about absolutely eyewash, okay? All the signs go to the first base coach because
Did not know that.
hit and run. I can't think of I can't remember the last time there was a hit and run in baseball.
I've seen like one this year.
Yeah, those signs are just gimmicks at this point. But you got to pick and choose when you go. Again, Fernando has the green light all the time because of he's epic speed and his percentage is really high. There's guys that are very fast that are terrible base stealers.
Yeah.
Speed doesn't necessarily mean you're a good base stealer. But there's guys, and again, there's situations. But when the big boys are up later in the innings, especially with how baseball is valued, you value the outs more than you value a lot of things. Sometimes they value the outs more than 90 feet. So don't give up the 90 feet. Let the guy possibly hit a home run. The analytics are the ones that created these scenarios. Back in the day, we're trying to push the envelope. When I came up as a Padres fan as a kid, the whole entire game, in seventh, eighth inning, there still was hit and runs called against the late inning guys. You don't have that no more. The game has changed completely. And truth be told, a lot of these guys don't even know how to hit and run.
Interesting. Interesting
yeah,
stuff.
I mean, they
man.
swing and miss so much now that hit and run is a bad percentage play. And very few guys go the other way when they swing, which is what you usually need to do on a hit and run because that's where the spot is cleared in the infield.
It's funny. I can't remember who the hell we talked to, but they told me they're like Albert Pujols has the green light, but he's a veteran and he knows when to go and when not to. I think
it's not a speed, it's a trust.
It's a trust.
It's a trust
thing.
factor.
It's a trust
Yeah.
thing. That's so interesting.
We're out of time, Adam.
Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it. Have a good week, and we'll hopefully talk to you next Wednesday.
All righty, y'all guys have a good one.
Adam Jones on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Yeah, ultimately, he got thrown out both times, so shouldn't have gone in those situations. You got to be almost 100% sure you're going to make it if you're going to go, especially late. Yeah, I don't disagree that, late in the game that you got to be really careful and make sure you make it. There's no doubt about it.
It's the fact that you're chasing runs and they come at a premium and you need base runners. And that's what killed me the other night. Last night didn't even bother me that much.
All right, we'll come back. 2 hours to go. Reset everything. Start over again with Bennett Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Still hits me right where I need to be hit, my friends. Welcome back. Halfway home on a Wednesday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. To my left is my co-host and friend, Benjamin R. Higgins, friendly neighborhood sports anchor, secretary of Homeland Exploration as well. And I had last night, taught my kids a very expensive lesson. An expensive lesson.
Really? Woods overpays for something again.
We were over the weekend. I was trying to get them to calm down, and they like to watch movies, and so we watched a movie called The Perfect Storm. Okay, fantastic film. Yeah, Mark Wahlberg, George Clooney, Captain Billy Tyne. It's a great movie. It's a great Shooter McGavin's in it, right? Just a great movie. And it's just a little scary at times. They had the big shark that jumps in the boat. My kids are 2 and 5. I figured it was appropriate. There's a little salty language, but nothing they don't hear at home. So we're watching the movie, and they were beyond riveted at the ability of these men to pull these giant swordfish onto the boat. And they have the hooks, and they pull them up. Woo, big ass fish. And then when they come into port, and they are taking the fish off, and they're shoving ice in. I mean, they didn't say a word. Which, if you have kids, okay, I've hit on something here. And they're watching, and then finally, Bo's like, "Dada, what is that fish? It's swordfish." And he goes, "I want to try it." And I said, "Okay, done." Well, I've only had swordfish maybe a couple of times. Ordered at a nice seafood restaurant once and had it, and it was delicious. Probably some lemon caper sauce on it, and cool, with some asparagus, and crush it. So I said to my kids, I want to try to be the dad that doesn't just tell them stuff, but shows them stuff. You see that commercial going around. There's a little girl sitting on the internet, and her dad's on a work call. She goes, "Dada, what does the ocean look like?" And he goes, "Hang on." And next thing you know, they're in their Subaru Outback or something, barreling towards the ocean. You're going to show her, right? So I was trying to do that bit, right? I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to show you. So I pick him up from school yesterday. Bo asked me, "Can we go get some swordfish?" Sure. We'll go get some swordfish, and I'll cook it. Like I have any earthly idea what I'm doing.
Maybe that would have been an opportunity to go and try one of our local fish restaurants.
Potentially.
Yeah.
So that I'm paying for it either way.
Yeah.
But then I have to cook it. So I pick them up. We go in. They're fascinated by the cases with the crab legs. I mean, Taylor's favorite movie is Castaway. There's crab in that. He hasn't shut up about it for months. That crab. So they stand at that thing.
I'm still dying at the story yesterday. They were playing Castaway, doing "We made fire."
Taylor has a stick, and he's trying to make fire with a little stick, and Bo has a palm frond, and he's dancing around. "I have made fire." It's the best. It's constant entertainment. So I go in, and again, I haven't ever
tag, no hide and seek.
No,
we're gonna play Castaway.
Yeah, 100%. And I go, I haven't bought swordfish ever. Very expensive. Very expensive. I way overbought. I bought 3 swordfish steaks, Ben. 3. One for me, one for my wife, and half for each.
Let's split one for the kids.
Either of these kids is going to eat half of anything. So I go home, I griddle it up, throw it on the griddle, little garlic, little olive oil. Think, okay, I've knocked this out of the park. And it was like sawdust when I was done with it. No. I mean, I texted Hannah. She was on her way home from work. I go, "I hope you like dry swordfish, because that's what it tasted like." So I cut up a little pieces for them. Taylor put one bite in his mouth, spit it out immediately. Bo was in a really good mood, so he was pretending, "Oh yeah, this is really
delicious.
Good.
Yum.
This is really tasty." It was like $60. $60 for a lesson. I'm like, we honestly could have gone to Poseidon or something and gotten one to share just so they could see. But man, this parent thing is really pricey.
It's funny. I was last night as I was falling asleep, I flipped on. It's kind of a couple years old now, but Stanley Tucci's Searching for Italy.
Yeah.
It's that show where he goes around eating food all over Italy, and they had the swordfish fishermen down in Calabria. They go out on the boats, and they were at the fish market. And you go, one swordfish can fetch like $5,000.
No joke.
For one fish. So yeah, I'm not surprised that you had to spend that much on on your swordfish.
It was a lesson, is what it was. It was. I didn't even really particularly want to eat swordfish. I like it. I don't crave it or anything, but it was very, very pricey. And fish is hard. It's hard to cook. I'm not the world's best cook, but I butchered it, and it was $60.
Next time, I recommend Pelly's is really good up in Carlsbad. Just to go and eat there. We used to go to the fish market a ton growing up there by the track in Del Mar.
Yeah.
I love Blue Water down on India Street. Fantastic fish place in San Diego.
Yeah, this is the Plugola Police.
Yeah, this is the FCCU.
Giving you my favorite fish place.
Are fired.
Now, there's no crime in describing and listing my favorite fish restaurants in San Diego.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you're fine. The Federal Communications Commission may have another thing to say about that, but yeah, it was.
When I want a good meal, I go to Mr. A's,
and I go to Pelly's.
Mr. A's,
simply the best.
I give it an A.
I give it an A. It was, and now I have at home.
Have you tried the steaks at Ruth's Chris?
Yeah. At home today, I have a literal trough full of dry swordfish with absolutely no juices in it all. That if I do want to eat for lunch, you know what I'm gonna have to do? I'm either gonna have to microwave fish. That's not gonna be great, or I'm gonna have to put it back in put it in a cast iron and sear it up.
Butcher Anthony says you wrap the swordfish in foil with butter to keep the moisture within while you're cooking it. You let all the moisture evaporate out of the swordfish.
So you don't take the spatula and lean down on the swordfish to push it
all the
to make sure that it's cooked. Oh, good to know, Butcher Anthony.
And then Robert of our Plugola Police alarm goes, holy crap, I thought I was getting pulled over. Well, first of all, Robert, don't chat on our YouTube. Don't be watching our YouTube while chatting while driving. It's the first thing. I think you should be pulled over if you're both watching our YouTube stream and then typing into the chat while you're getting pulled over on the freeway.
Very expensive lesson in the Woods household last night. Very expensive indeed.
Tony says fish should not be microwaved. Yes.
Okay, yeah, no,
it's especially at work.
Yeah, they're definitely not at
now,
work.
The Bourbon Collect says microwaved fish is actually great if you have a good bowl with a lid.
Which I don't. Oh man. Okay, so the hot stove is on right now, right? There's a pot of water on the hot stove, and it is just now starting to bubble up around the edges. Ben, there is some reports coming out this morning that the Tampa Bay Rays, are in talks with the Chicago White Sox about Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn potentially to the Rays. Names are being discussed. Kike Hernandez is on the move back to LA from Boston. You saw that yesterday for a couple of pitchers. So they're getting Kike back. They have not had any sort of stability at shortstop at all. He's probably going to end up playing short, and like the Dodgers deal, probably play some outfield as well. But yeah, Kike back to the Dodgers. Neither of those moves. I don't look at either of those moves and am racked with jealousy or anything like that.
Kike will get at least one big hit against the Padres this season.
It's unquestioned.
There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I saw our friends at ESPN, Bradford Doolittle and David Schoenfeld, had a column about the moves they think should be made, not necessarily ones they're hearing any rumors about, but they said the San Diego Padres should trade Blake Snell and Josh Hader to the, Doolittle says, Tampa Bay Rays. And he equates it to like the Scherzer Trey Turner move, like a 2-for-1, like a big giant move, and take Blake back to Tampa Bay for the rest of the season. Schoenfeld says Cincinnati Reds could use both of those guys at the same time.
Put them together.
Yeah, put them together in a package deal to one team, and land like an absolute maybe premier type prospect or two from the same deal. I still don't think the Padres are selling. I think there's too much of a bunch up. At the top of the wild card race. The Padres will never, they just won't ever think that they can't come back.
It's more of an ego thing. I think that's admitting this season's
defeat
over.
And not just Preller. I think top to bottom in that entire organization, from Peter Seidler down to the last player on the roster, every coach in there, they will continue to think until they are 6 games out with 5 games to play. They will continue to think that run is coming, and they will somehow find their way to make the postseason. There's never been a lack of confidence that this team thinks they're going to figure it out, and they have the talent, and it is just a matter of time before it comes out. And honestly, I don't see that changing in the next few days. I can't see a realization coming where everyone goes, yeah, I guess we were wrong. I thought we were going to be good, and it just didn't turn out that way. I don't see that kind of self-reflection. I don't know if they're even capable of it right now in that Padres front office or clubhouse. So I do not expect the Padres to probably trade away either piece. Even though we discussed a Josh Hader deal maybe making some sense at some point, I don't think it's going to happen this week.
I tend to agree with you guys, and Paulie talks about pride, right? And it's one of the worst. And I don't mean pride like I'm proud of you. I mean the pride and the ego of I can't admit defeat, right? And I can't. We've seen over the years, Ben, covering this team, even since we started, running guys out there that really don't have any business being run out there. And a lot of times it came from, well, we don't really have anybody else, right? There's not somebody knocking on the door. I wonder if there was a big time first base prospect 4 years ago, 5 years ago that was screaming, just tearing the cover off the ball. He's the incumbent at first base. Would we still have seen Eric Hosmer out there at first base every day? I don't know. Part of me thinks, yeah, maybe. Austin Nola was one that it's just like, I can't admit defeat. I can't admit defeat. We're going to get something out of this trade. Sometimes you just have to call in the punt team, man. You just do. And they have, and look what's happened. They're both of their catchers are producing. Austin Nola down in AAA. I don't know. I try to put myself in AJ Pillar's shoes. Do you think it'd be hard for you to admit defeat? Or I think I would be more of the, hey, if you're not helping us win, somebody's going to.
I don't think that you get to that job without being somewhat realistic. I mean, if all you do is just pie in the sky dreams, you don't rise to that level of general manager. But after, I think, having several years of being very realistic of, hey, all right, 2015, they tore it down quickly. All right, this isn't working. We are tearing it down. We thought it was going to be good. It wasn't. It was it was nothing. They tore it down right away, and then they spent the long slog of kind of rebuilding and trying to build up the farm system and being very realistic for a number of years. I do think with so much targeted into this season in particular, it's extra hard to pull the plug on it. Extra hard.
It is. And it's like the Matt Carpenter thing. Is that one where you're like, we're paying him so much money. He's a veteran. We deserve to give him a chance to hit his way out of it. I just don't think it's going to happen. And you wonder too, if Matt Carpenter was DFA'd, Ben, is anybody picking Matt Carpenter up for their stretch run? That's kind of one of the things I ask myself too, is if we lose this guy, if we DFA him and whatever, and just eat the salary, is one of the contenders gonna be like, oh yes, what a massive mistake by the Padres. Let's add Carp we've got enough veteran leadership. It's nothing personal against Matt Carpenter. I like the dude a lot. But it's just, he's not getting the job done by any stretch. So you do wonder how much ego plays into it of like, I'm not going to admit defeat right now. And we'll just keep running these same guys out there.
By the way, if you're curious, Austin Nola, I just looked it up, is 0 for 9 with the El Paso Chihuahuas so far, batting 0-0-0 at AAA. He does have a 182 OBP. He has walked twice and scored twice.
It's staggering to go from the spring training that he had and the start to the year that he had, probably feeling great, and in the blink of an eye, you're now all of a sudden you're like, is my career over?
Yeah, no doubt. Like, I don't know that I can play this game anymore. It's wild, man. I feel bad. I feel terrible for him. He's a human being and got a family, and it just sucks. Like, you're in the big leagues one day, you're catching every single inning, every pitch of every playoff game. The next season, you're in AAA and not performing in AAA. It's just what a cruel, cruel game.
All right, coming up, if you missed it, we will bring back some of the incorporator, Jesse Agler, working the word triskaidekaphobia, here of the number 13 into yesterday's broadcast. Plus, Paulie made a stunningly accurate prediction yesterday. We will revisit that one as well. Coming up next after a check of traffic with Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Mentioned it yesterday, but we're planning a revival of the 97.3 The Fan Roundtable next Tuesday at the trade deadline. Tune in from 2 to 3 p.m. when we all get together. Ben Woods, Coach Quintera, Gwen and Chris, Sam Levitt, to discuss whatever did or did not happen with the Padres and everyone else in MLB's trade deadline. It's going to be commercial-free next Tuesday from 2 to 3 p.m. We'll be in studio, all crowded around this little table here to discuss the trade deadline all together.
Think you and I will have to share a mic?
Let's see. How many do we have? We have,
hello.
Well, which ones actually
Ben
work? I see
Woods,
6 mics, but I can never
Sammy,
trust that they all are functioning.
Coach will be.
Coach will probably be on remote.
Should be
Tony
good.
might be at the ballpark.
Yeah.
They're on the road.
Oh, that's right. Well, he'll be in the
in
ballpark
Colorado,
on the road. So, yeah.
which means he can dial into the board. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we should be okay.
All right, good.
So yesterday,
hot box. in here.
yesterday, kind of flippantly, Paulie said, well, I mean, Padres lose 8-4 to the Pirates. We know what's going to happen tomorrow. They'll win 8-1, but after they had a chance to gain ground on everyone in the wild card race, they'll gain ground on like no one, and they'll still be 6 games out. You missed only slightly. It was 5-1 instead of 8-1, and they didn't gain ground on anyone except for the Marlins, who lost to the Rays 4-1 and have now dropped 9 out of their last 10. They continue in free fall mode, but some of the other wild card contenders managed to squeeze out victories. The Phillies scored twice
off.
in the 9th to walk it off. The Diamondbacks scored 3 times in the bottom of the 8th to beat the Cardinals 3-1. The Giants scored in the bottom of the 8th to beat the A's 2-1. I mean, they struggled against the A's. That's how they've been going lately. It was a nice moment in that game, though. All the Giants fans joined with the few A's fans that were there to sell the team in support of Oakland and keeping the team there. The Cubs stayed ahead of the Padres. They beat the White Sox 7-3. They're just 2 games under 500 now. They're not out of it. The Mets won. They beat the Yankees 9-3. I think on Twitter, they got back-to-back homers from Vogelbach and Alonso. Elias said it was the heaviest duo to ever hit back-to-back home runs.
Just because we didn't play in the big leagues.
500 and something pounds, yeah, and would never hit back-to-back home runs. The Reds beat the Brewers 4-3, so the Reds maintained their edge in the wild card race as well, though Brewers losing could possibly help because they keep flipping who's ahead of the NL Central. I think Cincinnati's a half game back. And then Dodgers, I know in the NL West, Padres are 10 games out. They came back from 7-3 down in the bottom of the 9th inning. Toronto had scored 3 to give themselves a cushion. Couldn't hold on to it. Dodgers scored 4 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th to beat the Blue Jays last night, 8-7, and walk it off. So, Paul, you were almost right. They gained ground on almost no one despite their win.
Still 6 games back.
Yep, and they're still
6 games out.
6 games out from a handful of teams in the National League wildcard race. Angels kind of kept in it in the American League. They beat the Tigers 7-6 in extra innings on a Mickey Moniak double. Big series, Astros and Rangers. Astros are now just a game out of first place.
Yep.
Of course, we'll see the Rangers this weekend at Petco Park, but they've kind of started scuffling a little bit this weekend as well. So it was an interesting and busy day yesterday in Major League Baseball.
AL West looks like it's going to come down to, I mean, it could be the last day of the season. They are battling it out, Ben. Orioles are such a fun team. I mean, 39 losses for that Orioles team, only bested by Atlanta with 35 losses. I mean, who had that? Who picked that?
No.
I mean,
especially how they're doing it. Like I mentioned, Padres have a better run differential than that Orioles team. And yet they have the second fewest losses in baseball. Padres could be doing that right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Space those runs out a little bit better. Padres could have the same record as the Orioles.
Imagine having a run differential of 147 and you're in second place, plus 147. And that's what
the Tampa Bay
Rays. Yeah, just insane. Again, if you missed it earlier, in talks to acquire Lance Lynn, who will probably rediscover some fountain of youth in Tampa. And yeah, they're going to try to bolster their rotation. Seemingly, they always have 1 or 2 starters. They're a factory. They're a machine. They bring up guys. Everybody throws 98, wicked sliders. And when one guy goes down, another guy comes up. But looks like they'll need some outside help bringing Lance Lynn in.
24 hours ago, we had Jesse Agler on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Played the Incorporator. Woods gave him the word triskaidekaphobia fear of the number 13 to work into the broadcast last night, and they did it. He did it in the 7th inning. He was discussing E-Man Choi and his famous fear of ghosts that he has talked about before. Here's the audio from last night.
He also has a apparently crippling fear of ghosts.
Is that right?
Big ghost guy.
Me and him in the same boat.
It's not like the Pfister Hotel in Milwaukee. Phasmophobia, by the way, the fear of ghosts.
I don't know if I have phasmophobia.
You're not a phasmophobic?
No, I don't think so.
Here's the 2-2. Choi takes high and outside. You got a lot of that kind of stuff going around in baseball, of course. You got the triskaidekaphobia, which is the thing where you don't like the number 13. A lot of guys won't wear that number.
I'm lucky.
Manny, no problem. Very lucky.
Clearly.
Yeah, he's lucky.
That one worked perfectly.
It was perfect.
That was a great
I knew there would
discussion.
be a Manny reference as soon as I saw the definition, but boy, he worked that one in real good, as he always does.
Manny always has struck me as, for baseball players, he's got one of the least superstitious guys. He's got to be.
I don't know. I don't know what his something to ask him next spring training. I don't know.
I feel like he's
sure
he's a
some.
person who believes he controls his own destiny.
True.
The way he talks, the way he carries himself, like, hey, just trust the process.
Yep.
Everything will be okay. That's not a man who believes in a lot of necessarily mumbo jumbo and superstition.
Yeah, but he's very routine based as
That's
well.
true.
Which
That can be superstitious
Which can
a
be
little
looked
bit.
at
Yeah,
as a
that's true.
superstition. He's
That is
very routine based. And yeah, I mean it. Hey, whatever works for Manny. Keep doing what you're doing.
I know he doesn't want to get into the routine of getting drilled by 98-mile-an-hour fastballs like it happened yesterday. When we come back, we heard from Manny. We heard from Juan Soto earlier. We'll hear from the skippers, but I really want to hear from the tier ones. What do you want to see happen in today's game? After the hit by pitch, Padres didn't retaliate yesterday, but there is one game left to do it. They will not face the Pirates again until 2024. So if you're going to do it, it's going to happen today. But is it too risky when you need to win this game? You know, risking losing an ejection or at least putting a runner on that could score a winning run at some point. You never know when it's going to happen. You want to see something happen in the game today at Petco Park. Give us a call, 833-288-0973. We'll take your phone calls coming up next here with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Cars.com. Whether you're looking for the perfect summer road trip car or something you can zip around in, visit Cars.com today. They have over 2 million cars for your 2 million summer possibilities. Head to Cars.com. Check out the possibilities. Cars.com. Where to next? We're looking for your phone calls. Got a couple of people already on the line. 833-288-0973. What do you want to see happen in today's game after the Manny Machado hit by pitch last night against the Pirates? Retaliation? Do you risk Seth Lugo throwing at someone, but maybe getting thrown out of the game and costing the Padres their starting pitcher? Do you wait until maybe you build a big lead, but what if it doesn't happen and then you go the whole game? What if you don't retaliate at all? Do you feel like you've let everybody down? You didn't have your teammates back if you don't do something in today's game and make a statement early. I think there's a lot of different facets to this discussion.
I'd like to see the Padres send a message over social media in the form of a press release. The Padres have re-signed Rougned Odor for a one-day contract.
And Austin Adams has been acquired today from the Arizona Diamondbacks for cash considerations.
Pirates are like, oh, crap.
But I mean, with Austin Adams, you're like, I don't know if he meant to do it or not. I mean, that's the deal. He's just look at his track record.
Bob comes out, whoa.
Is there a, how they have whip, walks, hits, innings pitched? There needs to be something. Austin Adams, like, he would hit a batter an inning, like it was like clockwork. You could count on it. Every time he came in, he was really good.
We saw that high velocity machine. Maybe they just set that up in the top of the first inning and just aim it a little bit right.
Our guys throw a lot harder than that. I mean, they throw a lot harder than that. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I'm not trying to hurt anybody at all. I don't want to throw at anybody's head.
Let's play what the managers had to say last night. As you can imagine, a little different perspectives.
Yep.
We got Bob Melvin after the game last night on the Manny hit by pitch in the 7th.
I really don't know. I mean, I think the umpires handled it right. You saw where the catcher sat up and he missed by a pretty wide margin. It's a pitch after a home run. So I understand it. I don't know why that would happen, but I think umpires got together and felt like that was the thing to do.
Bob has also asked about how his players reacted in that moment.
Yeah, I think, Santana had a little something to do with that too. He went straight to Manny and was, kind of trying to explain the situation, I guess. But yeah, the last thing we want is, some guys getting thrown out or in a situation where somebody gets suspended. So unfortunately it happens. You really don't know what to make of it based on missing by that far right after a home run, but we'll move on.
Well, you can't just say, we're coming after him tomorrow, because that puts the umpires on high alert.
Somebody tweeted like, oh, would Bob Melvin allow something like that? I'm like, do you know Bob Melvin? Like, number one, it's a poker game. Like, you can't tip your hand. You can't give even the slightest hint that you're going to retaliate in the media.
He's not your kindly neighborhood grocer,
bro.
You think he is.
I'll tell the story. I'll tell the spring training story again for those of you that haven't heard it. I was lucky enough once to be standing with Trevor Hoffman at spring training, and Bob Melvin came up. And I hope he wouldn't be mad at me for telling the story. I don't think he would. But Bob Melvin was coming up and they were talking to Trevor, and I just panicked. I didn't say a word. I just sat there and listened. And there was a kid, a Padres prospect, basically, that was supposed to throw that day. And he
throw a bullpen. It's my favorite story. This was last spring.
Yeah, this is not last, the one before. Yeah. He walks up to Trevor and he's shaking his head. And Trevor's like, "What's up, Skip?" And he goes, I don't know what to effing do. He goes, "These effing kids." And Trevor's like, "What happened?" He goes, "This is so-and-so supposed to throw." And he came up to me and he goes, "Hey, Skip, I can't throw today." And he said, "Well, why not?" He goes, "Because there's no track man. The thing that measures, what." And Bob goes, What the F are you talking about? 4 catchers here all lined up ready for you to throw your bullpen. He goes, "Honestly, I just shook my head and walked away at that point." He's like, I just don't understand. Like, you can't throw a bullpen because there's no track man set up. Go out and get your work in. He's not the kindly grandfather that he's made out to be, or even that he maybe portrays himself to be in the media. That's why the Sleepy Bob bit makes me insane, because I've seen the dude up close. He's as intense as it gets. He's just really, really good at not wearing it on his sleeve. He's really good at it. I mean, it was maybe my favorite baseball moment of my entire life.
I mean, part of being a manager is being disingenuous. Just listen to Derek Shelton,
yes,
Pirates manager, after the game talking about, what? Oh, no, what?
The Perdomo Machado situation, just what took place?
Yeah, well, I mean, the ball just got away from him and it hit him,
Right,
and then the umpires got together, and which they're supposed to do, and then after they got together, they decided an ejection.
Was the issue with the fact that it was so long for an ejection? Was it, what was the issue for coming out?
For me coming out,
Yeah.
just more an explanation of that. And I mean, I think at that point, personally, I think that's where a warning comes into play.
Mhm.
And they initially went to an ejection, which you don't see a lot. That obviously that's their judgment call, and I didn't agree with it.
So he didn't get a warning. They got
No,
together and
because if there's a warning, then he faces the next hitter, and there's
Right.
a warning to both teams, and it kind of goes from there. It was just an automatic ejection.
Objectively, that's a fair argument.
We're explaining warnings.
Yeah.
What? Wait,
Yeah.
So he didn't get a warning? No, they ejected him right away.
You saw it.
I never understood the whole warning thing. The warning thing
Oh, it pisses you off. If you're the
doubly
guy.
hurts the team that just got hit.
Yes.
Because, okay, so we just got hit. They get a warning, but now
we
if
get to
do
get a
anything,
guy thrown out.
We get thrown out. That makes no
Like
sense.
Bob Melvin
whatsoever.
deserved to be pissed after all of that. But I texted you guys last night and said, look, F these guys.
Yeah.
But Shelton makes a valid argument.
Absolutely. It's just not something you see a lot of. Maybe if your pitcher doesn't charge down the mound and start walking towards home plate, spoiling for a fight.
I think it was pretty egregious, though, in the way it came right after the home run.
I do too. You just don't see that. You usually will see a warning.
Point, hey, you, and which is if you're
guys weren't chirping before that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a chippy game and then in the third inning, all of a sudden a ball comes really inside or up to the head, then maybe that's the warning. Like, let's not let this get out of hand. When a guy throws directly at a star player immediately after a home run, you bang him immediately. I think the umpires handle that correctly.
And throw him out. Yeah,
correctly. All right, let's we got callers on the line. Chris, Garrett, and Mike, you'll be first up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto Family, here's Kelly Demick.
Still plenty of trouble spots on our roads. Southbound 125 at the westbound King Freeway. They're trying to clear this rollover crash. Westbound King Freeway near the 15, an accident. Looks like that is blocking the left lane. And now crash blocking lanes on the westbound 8 near the 15. Northbound side of the 805 before Imperial crash over to the right shoulder. Couple vehicles involved. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station. 97.3 The Fan.
All right. Are you looking for immediate retaliation? Subtle retaliation, or is this game too important? You can't risk a runner or an ejection when you need to win this series against the Pirates. 833-288-0973. Let's go to the phones. We got Chris first up here with Ben and Woods. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Hey there. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, buddy.
Awesome. Yes. Hey, yes. So at some point in time, Luis Garcia needs to come to the game and just hit him right in the back or whatever.
In the hip.
Doesn't need to go to the head.
hip.
In the hip. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And that way, Luis, maybe, I don't know, actually, can he start out the game? Does he have to pitch to three hitters?
No,
just like
you get open, but here's the deal.
He would if he started the game. He'd have to face 3 batters.
Also, it would be massively egregious.
Unless he got ejected.
Like Bob Melvin probably gets suspended. If all of a sudden Seth Lugo is scratched as the starter.
Or delayed.
Or delayed, or whatever. They announce, hey, bullpen day.
It's like walking into a bank with a pantyhose on your head. And you're like, what? What? I'm just here, just wearing pantyhose. And they're like, bro, you're going to rob this bank. I know you're going to. You're like, I mean, prove it. I decided to wear pantyhose over my face today as I walked in the bank.
We just thought today of all days, Luis Garcia is going to make his first career start.
Correct.
And, he wasn't throwing at that second hitter of the game. No.
Again.
And then all of a sudden, Lugo's ready to go.
Again, I think, obviously situation dictates it. And if the offense comes out and does their job, at some point, Seth Lugo, when he's reaching 75, 80 pitches, says, here's one to Andrew McCutchen, Brian Reynolds, right on the hip. You know what? It's funny. The other night, we didn't talk about it. Their catcher, who I love, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the rookie that they call it. What's his name? Henry Davis. Is that right? I love that kid. I do. But his acting job on the pitch that hit
the knob of the bat.
I honestly like the acting job of like, and he's on the ground writhing around. I'm like, somebody's gonna dot that kid. Somebody like that. That's one of those where you're like, hey, bro.
2 for 1 is what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, you get a little deuce.
Henry Davis wears it for both.
He is a rookie, though.
He
is a rookie.
Angel Perdomo and
that absolutely pathetic display. I do love him, though. I love what I wouldn't do to have that kid. He is awesome. He's awesome. So I forgot to bring that up.
I mean, you know it's egregious when Bob Melvin wins a challenge.
Yeah.
That was fast too. That was one of the fastest overturns of the umpire went. They're challenging the ruling. Like 8 seconds later, yeah, that ruling's overturned. That's a foul ball.
Literally not even close to getting any finger or palm or anything.
He didn't even look that ashamed.
No, he didn't. That is like the biggest walk of shame ever. You're like, oh God, oh God.
Let's go to Garrett. You are next up. 833-288-0973. Good morning, Garrett.
Hey, guys.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, I agree. I think he would be the guy to ban if we're going to hit somebody. But in my opinion, I think we do it with the bats. Put up 12 runs.
Yeah.
That's the retaliation. Don't mess around. Stay focused on winning. Manny took the high road last night.
He did.
I'd say follow his lead. Don't try and hit anybody.
Really? Okay.
That's the right answer.
It's
but
the
I don't,
right.
I don't
No,
like
it's absolutely. That's the smartest answer you've given, and I realize that I'm being a little bit irrational, and I understand that. I'll own that. It's not the first time. Won't be the last. Well, does that, if anything, does that send any sort of message to Manny at all? If you're like, oh, because look, if it were me and you guys didn't defend me, I'd be like, oh, cool. Guess I can't trust you guys. But
Yes, you would be like that.
I would be. Well,
See,
we know you wouldn't throw at anybody.
You know I got your back.
Yeah,
I think Manny goes in and says, "Hey, you know what? We don't
Let's
need
win
to
this
do
game.
anything. Let's win this game. You know, don't be doing something dumb just to stand up for me. I can take it. I'm a big boy.
He's got tons of money. He's got the whole
Yeah.
he's got the whole package. I get it. I do get it. I do.
I saw a lot of people, and Garrett, thank you for the call. 833-288-0973 if you want to get in. Saw a lot of people. It wasn't necessarily the retaliation that they wanted. They wanted a benches clearing brawl.
Yeah, I don't want.
They wanted to see the Padres go out and literally
fight,
show some fight that they've been asking for, theoretically all year long. Where's the fight? They wanted to see a literal fight on the field.
Just
that
seeing-
could be a way they thought maybe to bring the team together for a run at the end of the year.
It was nothing at all, but it was something, right? Watching them come over the top rope, as it were. I mean, Fernando Tatis ready to throw down. I thought, hey man, that's
He was going to be
badass.
the first one there.
That was badass. It was, and though you do need that kind of stuff. It's such a long season. You can get in the doldrums. This team's been stuck in neutral the entire season. Really, I mean, they've really been stuck in neutral, and it can give you a little boost. Like, hey man, we are in this together. And nobody's going to come into our house and hit our captain in the back with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball after a home run.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, but in this case, you do have a team that has been spinning its wheels for so long that it feels like something out of the ordinary like that could potentially do some good for whatever reason. I don't know why it would, but feels like it might. Now, if they were 20 games above 500 and cruising, I'd say
have a ball.
You stay out of the situation. I mean,
no,
you are the other way.
20 games above 500.
Well, yeah, I'd say you don't want to risk an injury in a fight. I mean, I don't want to
fight
someone.
Believe me, again, I'm not spoiling for I don't want the Braves Padres brawl with Pascual Perez throwing bats and stuff. I don't want that. I do not. That's somebody tears an Achilles or something. That is absurd. But I think again, if it's done the right way, and it's Andrew McCutchen or Brian Reynolds, I think they'll get it. You don't go at their head, but I'm going to wear one in the butt today, and it's probably going to suck. And I just think it tells Manny, hey, we got your back, and as a team, we're together.
Let's go to Jimmy next up here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, you guys, I'm everybody knows about Bob Gibson and Don Drysdale.
Oh, yeah.
You hit one of mine, I hit 2 a year.
Yep.
But one Saturday morning, the great Dizzy Dean told everybody how you bean someone. He said, this is how you do it. And he explained how you throw the ball 6 inches behind a person's head, and you let them fall back into it. And he said, that's the way.
When they natural flinch and you go back, then it gets you. Well, we don't want to see anybody.
I don't want to see anybody.
No headshots.
Yeah, I don't know headshots. I don't need to. And I don't want to see a brawl. And listen, if you're McCutchen today, he has been around the game a long time. He's probably going up there with his ass turned towards the pitcher, like, go ahead. You'd hate to see Lugo run early. You'd hate to see, I'm really curious to watch and see if they're, hey guys, don't let this boil over today. Warning, warning. I feel like that's a little bit unfair as well. Maybe let it play out a little bit. And you want to hit somebody and you warn them after. Okay, no problem.
By the way, Seth Lugo, I mean, another matchup that if you're the Padres on paper, you like. I'm sure they're once again heavy favorites. Johan Oviedo, right-hander, on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates today. I think he's 3-11. July has been his worst month of the year. I think he's lost like 8 straight decisions or something at this point. I mean, another guy that the Padres should be able to get after on the mound today. Now, they're going to do it without Juan Soto, we've been told. Bob Melvin mentioned that last night, that he has got a planned day off for Juan Soto. The idea being, get him today. You got an off day tomorrow. You don't play until Friday night. That gives him almost, 72 hours that he can rest that little finger that's been bothering him. Now, obviously not bothering him so much that he can't hit the absolute tar out of a baseball like he did last night. And even his early out, I think, is 105. I mean, Juan Soto's still scalding the ball despite that injury, but get him almost 3 full days between having to go out there. And then you probably ride him now for a good stretch here as you're trying to get back into the race. But, Juan Soto not going to be in there today, lefty against the righty. So you're going to have to find a different way to put together some offense against Johan Oviedo.
Yeah, I'm bummed about it. I'm bummed. And I said earlier in the week, this is that time where every game is so critical, and not having Juan Soto on the, having Juan Soto on the bench isn't necessarily a punt, but who replaces that production? And hopefully whoever gets their opportunity today has a really good day. And this is where it'd be really nice to have somebody start to find their groove, like a Jake Cronenworth. Really nice piece Dennis Lynn just wrote in The Athletic about Croney as well. And yeah, man, I just it's a bummer. It's a bummer to not have Soto in today's game, but the hand's been bothering him all year, and to get a chance to get 2 days off, I'm sure he could pinch hit maybe later in the game in a big spot, but hopefully we don't get there. Hopefully it's just a laugher, but I have no idea what to expect.
So who's probably the left fielder then? Because Dixon's no longer with the team.
No, you got Colway.
Colway can play the outfield.
Colway can play the outfield.
Colway will be out there.
Yep, I would assume.
Batten's more of an infielder, although he's played just about everywhere.
Yep. And Colway's a lefty. So
Colway's lefty against the righty. Okay,
I would
Colway
imagine it would be
left.
Taylor Colway.
And Bob hinted strongly that we'll see both Sanchez and Campusano out there again, maybe flipped, but one will be the DH, the other
for sure
behind the plate. Worked out pretty well yesterday. Both guys seem to be swinging the bat quite well, so you want to get those guys in the lineup as much as possible. You upgrade a catcher and designated hitter at the same time with those two guys. One of the big changes that the Padres have made that have sort of helped kind of turn things around. Can't say they've turned things around yet. They're still 4 games under 500. All right, we'll talk about more of it in our final hour. AJ Cassavell covering the Padres. Inside all of this for MLB.com is going to join us when we come back.
He's got some ideas about the trade deadline.
I like that. Yeah, that's coming up on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Mentioned it earlier, but AJ Cassavell blew me away with a nugget last night, a statistic about Blake Snell. Now, I had known that he had taken over the ERA lead in Major League Baseball among qualified starters, lowered his ERA to 2.61 with 6 innings last night, 1 earned run. I didn't realize he also led baseball in most walks allowed. And finding out that, in fact, this morning, that double has never been achieved in Major League Baseball history over a whole season. Lead the league in both ERA and walks. And joining us right now is AJ Cassavell, covering the Padres for MLB.com on our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Good morning, AJ.
Good morning. Doesn't it seem like if I had told you one pitcher would do that this season, any pitcher, that Blake Snell would be the likeliest guy? So it's like, it sounds wild unless you've watched Blake Snell pitch all season.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, that's kind of makes sense.
I did point out, though, Blake Snell doesn't even have the advantage of facing the team that has walked more than any other in baseball, but doesn't always bring those runners home, which is his own San Diego Padres.
Yep.
That's a very good point. And that might ultimately be what does him in, because I can't imagine it's sustainable one way or the other. He's got to stop walking guys or his ERA is
going to go up. That's why no one's ever done it.
It is the definition of playing with lighter fluid and a lighter. I mean, it's just like, hey, this is kind of fun if I keep them apart, and then they come together, and you're like, how did I give up 7?
I got to get real close, but I just can't let him touch. Okay.
It's a roller coaster, but he does have that ability to get out of those jams, and he locks it in. Oh, the stat that blew my mind last night that Mud and Don said, 3rd time through the order, the dreaded 3rd time through the order. Blake, the batting average against him is like not even 100, which is staggering to me. I mean,
Kevin Cash is going, what?
Even the best in baseball are like, oh, it jumps up to 270. Not Blake Snell, goes down to 0.69 or something.
Scherzer, first time through 119, second time through 187,
and then 250. It's bananas how he has the ability to grind that out, AJ.
Yeah, and that's kind of just who he's become at this point. Like, I don't think he's not trying to walk these guys, but he has this real knack for, like, when he gets into those spots, just digging deep for the strikeout. Sometimes it takes extra pitches, and sometimes, like I said, I don't know that it will be sustainable long term. At some point, someone's going to bloop one down the line, and it's happened a few times to him already this season, and 2 runs are going to score or whatnot. But, man, it's working for him right now, and his ERA is lower than anyone else in baseball. You can't complain about that.
At this point, do you see a scenario in which Blake could be traded by the deadline on Tuesday? I think it's become so unlikely as to be almost impossible. I mean, maybe if they lost their next 5 games in a row, you make a last minute deal, but it really does seem like it's a very low percentage chance now, AJ.
Yeah, I do see a scenario. I see kind of that scenario where if they lose maybe like 4 of 5 here, and then a couple other wild card teams win, like you're looking at just kind of minuscule playoff odds. But as long as the playoff odds are there, I don't see the Padres going in some sort of major sell-off. And the one guy I think among all the guys that have been mentioned is trade chips that you kind of can't sell if you're expecting to do something to reach October and then make October is Blake Snell, because of how important he is to the pitching staff. And if you're in the playoffs, I assume at the front of your rotation, and I'm not sure that you'd want anyone else given how well he's pitching right now.
Talking to our pal AJ Cassavell here on Ben and Woods this morning, and I know you were there front and center last night for Manny's comments after the game. We talked to Adam Jones, a former teammate of Manny's. He goes, man, Manny would have been out there. If it was 3-4 years ago, Manny would have been out there. And I know Manny was talking about how he's matured as well. What was the general sense that you got last night being around him after that? It had to hurt. It would have put me in traction.
Yeah, I mean, he was irked by it, but I think the fact that A, the Padres won, that B, they responded like they did with Suarez going out 1-2-3, Sanchez hitting a 2-run bomb, and then Hader locking down the ninth. Like, it's the point of the season where it's not necessarily like this is the 7th inning of a 2-run game that you can't lose if you want to have wild card hopes. And so I like Manny said last night, he's probably matured from his younger days, that you can't have Manny Machado suspended for 4 games for doing something dumb, and he knows that. And as a result, I mean, he let the Padres play, kind of do the talking there, and I mean, he wanted to kind of, you saw as he kind of strolled up to a little media scrum that he wanted to kind of get some stuff off his chest and kind of beat his chest a little bit about how kind of irked he was for getting 98 miles to the back, and the fact that he didn't really do anything about it. So he had a couple quick one-liners. He said something like, "Yeah, I'd be mad too if I gave up a bomb like that one to Soto." So like he clearly he didn't like being hit by a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. And I don't know anyone who does.
Speaking of Juan Soto, hit his 20th home run last night. Done it 5 seasons before the age of 24. Very impressive. But it was said basically by Bob Melvin, he will not be in the lineup today. Going to get the days off here for Juan Soto to try to get that finger situation at least in better shape. Obviously, his name has come up a few times. Have you heard anything in terms of the long-term future of Juan Soto lately? It seems like it's just been very quiet. Nothing from the Padres side, nothing from the Scott Boras side on anything. And I know it's not this year, it's still another year in advance, but not sure the Padres necessarily want to go into a walk year either. They certainly didn't with Manny, even with an option last year. Do you think there's going to be some talks in the offseason?
I'm sure there will be talks in the offseason. I think the Padres would have to feel like they have to kind of ratchet that up. I just don't know, once Soto at this age is as close as he is to free agency, if he would be amenable to those talks. But I guess that's still kind of TBD at this point. At this point right now, like you said, we're not really hearing much. And so it just kind of feels like Soto and the Padres are focused on hopefully making a push for the playoffs. And that's where their focus is. I would imagine that if there are going to be talks, those would heat up during the winter, kind of like they did with Manny last season. The Padres gave up a lot for Juan Soto and they want to have him around. But I mean, he's also an integral part to what they're trying to do in 2023 and 24. And that's where the focus is right now.
And our pal AJ Cassavell joins us now. He wrote something on MLB.com, and it says it's your ideas for how the Padres can approach this deadline. Skip the rental pieces. Let's talk about each one, actually, AJ, if you can. Skip the rental pieces. Sure. Yeah, and obviously Shohei Ohtani being the biggest rental out there, that would cost you pretty much everything you have at this point.
Yeah, and it's not really written with Shohei Ohtani in mind. If you can suddenly get him at some discount or whatever, if the Angels say, hey, we're selling to the Padres and no one else, sure, yeah, take him. He's right. Shohei Ohtani. He fixes pretty much everything that the Padres need. But the Padres are also 6 games back in the wild card race. They have a few teams to jump. They need to be realistic about this. But I don't think being realistic is saying we shouldn't buy. I think there are ways to buy where, if you add a reliever who's got 2-3 more years of team control, who's pretty good, I think that's worth trading a decent prospect, not one of your high-end prospects for. If you can get a big kind of a bat to fill that DH spot that the Padres had hoped that Carpenter and Cruz would fill, I think that's worth it too. There are ways to go about this where you're not sacrificing too much to acquire non-rental pieces that can help you this season and can help you beyond.
Any names come to mind off the top of your head? I know, everyone keeps talking about Cody Bellinger, but the Cubs are playing better and he is on fire right now. And, they're ahead of the Padres. So I know they're in different positions organizationally, but still it'd be hard to justify moving a Bellinger and any other names jump to mind.
I think on the reliever front, there was like a couple that have just been maybe bandied about just generally in terms of like guys that are multiple years of control that could help teams. And like the Kansas City Royals have a couple, Carlos Hernandez, Scott Barlow. I think David Robertson of the Mets has been mentioned. There's that type of reliever, although Robertson, I believe, would be a rental as well. But like the Barlow Hernandez type, like those are upside guys that could slot into the Padres bullpen and be helpful. On the bat side of things, off the top of my head, I'm sure there are guys out there. I don't know which ones would have off the top of my head multiple years of control, but that's what I would be searching for, because I don't know that I want to sacrifice those prospects for. Let's be real. You can make this trade and you go 2-5 out of the trade deadline, and all of a sudden you're out of it right then. That's a real possibility that you need to be prepared for, and so that's why I think it's important not to go after just a rental.
Yeah, I agree with you when you say don't sacrifice high-end prospects, and pretty much mean the top 4 prospects in Salas, Merrill, Dylan Lesko, and Robbie Snelling, untouchable at this point, at this trade deadline. I really agree with add a slugger. You say the glove not really important in this situation. To me, I'll even add, they need a left-handed bat.
Yeah,
they need a left-handed guy who could DH, throw him in at first if you had to, or a corner outfield spot if you had to. But that's where, with Matt Carpenter's struggles, Alfonso Rivas hasn't shown enough yet. They just have not found that one more left-handed bat. With Cronenworth's continued struggles, Trent Grisham going hot and cold, someone from the left side of the plate who can do some damage.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Gary Sanchez and Luis Campusano are both hitting, like you have that right-handed DH spot covered. You can put one of those guys there, and if not, you can put Matthew Batten at first base, and you can mix some things up to make make things work against lefties. So I would just kind of let that go. You need to get a left-handed bat to hit against righties. That's what this lineup's been missing, and just what it would do to the length of that lineup. You put that guy 7th right there, and you can kind of stagger some of the lefties, and I that would go a long way to toward alleviating a lot of these problems, because Trent Grisham's been fine in that number 9 spot. He does what he's supposed to do. He plays outstanding defense, and he gets on base, and there's some threat of slug. If that's your 9 hitter and your 7 hitter is another left-hander who can mash, that's a playoff caliber bottom of the order.
Yeah, I'd go 5 then, and Crony in the 7. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of different things you can do.
I've wondered, why do you think Bob Melvin has been reluctant? Because I said it weeks ago that why not drop Jake Cronenworth down to 8th or 9th at some point and try something different?
Sure.
Maybe take a little bit of the pressure off.
He doesn't care.
Him down there. I don't think
he's told us.
I mean, it hasn't worked out yet. He's still out there consistently in the 5th spot.
5, yeah.
And he's between guys who are hitting now. When you put a Campusano or a Sanchez 6th and guys who are hitting, it's like, God, you've put a dead spot, unfortunately, right in the middle there of the lineup.
Who else is it? At this point, is it Colway? Is it Rivas? Yeah. That's the deal.
Yeah, it's kind of a two-pronged like issue there. It's who are you going to put in that 6th spot that's right now that's better than Cronenworth, and at the same time, like you want to kind of stagger those lefties a little bit. So I think if they're going Soto 3, Cronenworth 6, Grisham 9, then you're going to get favorable bullpen matchups down there. No matter because eventually, if you're putting a lefty at 7 or 8, you're probably going to pinch hit.
I would have done Grisham a couple of weeks ago when he seemed to be kind of locked in and get his bat up a little bit more. Now he's cooled off again, so I do see the dilemma there.
Yeah, and if you get that one lefty bat, then maybe it's just different.
Yeah,
you can even pinch hit for Cronenworth against a tough left-hander late in the game, or do the same for Grisham if you're trailing, because obviously those two guys bring a lot defensively. But it would just give you more options that you don't have right now.
Talking to AJ Cassavell and Benno Woods this morning. We were at the ballpark yesterday. Good running into you for a minute before the game, AJ. And I wanted to ask you, we saw Michael Walk out there throwing, and he remains to me kind of just an integral piece. And I know that I liked what I saw from Jackson Wolf. Doesn't have the massive swing and miss stuff that you'd like to see, but he got through it, got a win in his debut. Of course, Ryan Weathers is kind of always on the bubble. Jay Groom is pitching really, really well. He's kind of found something right now. There's still some bodies per se, but for me, Michael Walker getting back sooner than later is going to be pretty paramount to what AJ Preller needs to do at the deadline. Do you foresee them looking at adding a starter just in case?
I think they should look at adding a starter. Now, starters are likely to be pricey, and I think there's like the just in case is probably bigger for this group because of the steep drop off from their top 5 to the guys after that. And also the fact that each of those top 5 is 30 years old or older. And so if you're relying on those guys going every 5th day, the rest of the way down the stretch, that doesn't sound like the right formula. That doesn't sound like a formula for a post-trade deadline scenario. You need to weigh those options. That said, there's also the option of building Nick Martinez back to a starting workload if you were to acquire another reliever. So, I mean, I think the Padres need to look at it. I one of my biggest things in that piece that I wrote about how they should approach the deadline is they shouldn't be sacrificing those high-end prospects. So if that's what it takes, then I think that's a no, and you kind of work with what you have. But getting Michael Wacha back, getting him pitching, getting him healthy is a huge part of that. If this lingers much longer, I think we know he's going to miss his next turn through the rotation, which is August 1st, which will clear a spot for someone. If this lingers much longer beyond that, that's an issue the Padres need to address if they have playoff ambitions, because they're not gonna reach the playoffs with their current rotation depth if one of these guys is out for a significant time.
He is AJ Cassavell, covering the Padres on a daily basis for MLB.com. Always appreciate your time for us. AJ, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
AJ Cassaville on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. I just had one of those like thinking out loud sort of ideas when you brought up Michael Waka that sounds a little crazy. But I'm gonna present it to you when we come back, and you're gonna tell me that's ridiculous.
All
Don't
right.
do it. But I will.
Is this like your stealing take down 4 rounds?
No, it's different. Probably much worse, actually. But
I can't wait.
We will bring.
I love Bad Idea Ben.
Bad Idea Ben makes
appearance.
Makes a quick appearance.
Hey, listen, there's no bad ideas in brainstorming, right?
Makes a quick appearance.
Unless they're yours. But yeah,
when we
or
come
Adam's,
back, and then
or
we'll get to the Rondell Report as well, still coming up with Ben Woods. Back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Want to stay connected with Ben and Woods all week long? Give us a follow in the Odyssey app. It's just one of the many easy ways you can access his clips, show reminders, and more. Just download the Odyssey app for free and follow Ben and Woods to listen to us no matter where you are.
There's a lot of ways to consume Ben and Woods.
There is. And then you won't miss Bad Idea Ben making a quick appearance here. And this is
Can this
just,
be a bit?
Oh boy.
This is just, I mean, like instantaneous, like light bulb quickly that went on. So I haven't thought it all the way through.
Okay. I didn't see you
But
over there punching up research.
What did AJ just say is the most valuable commodity right now at the trade deadline?
Starting pitching.
Okay. The Padres need starting pitching as well, but they also need to win immediately. Unlike maybe there are some other playoff contenders like the Rays who are looking a little more long-term, like we need more starting pitching all the way through the end of the season. Would you, Bad Idea Ben says, consider trading an injured Michael Wacha right now to a team that can wait, give him 2 or 3 weeks, wait, and activate him for a nice September-October run while giving the Padres something they could use now, like someone who could help in their lineup or help in their bullpen immediately, someone maybe controllable, longer, doesn't have a bunch of weird options like Michael Wacha has in his contract. Is it possible? I feel like there was a trade last year. Was it the Harrison Bader, Jordan Montgomery trade?
He was hurt.
Like he was hurt, but they said, we can wait it out a little while. Yeah. We'll make it good. We think this is a smart deal for us.
It was not.
It wasn't, but maybe another team thinks, hey, we get a Michael Wacha. We can wait a few weeks, get him healthy. He will be a huge addition for a team like the Rays or someone down the stretch.
Orioles,
and because we're doing well right now. We don't need him immediately, but we will need pitching depth before all is said and done. And we have this surplus that the Padres could probably really use. And, we can't find starting pitching anywhere. So you might have to overpay a little bit for a starter, even an injured one like Michael Wacha right now.
The only problem is we also need starting pitching.
But we're not going to have Michael Wacha for looks like at least a couple of weeks, if not more.
Yeah.
And you eliminate the risk of, there's another setback. It's another week or two. Padres can't afford Michael Wacha to be down for another 4 or 5 weeks. Another team might be able to.
Yeah.
The Padres need immediate wins and immediate help. And perhaps there could be a situation where that works out between two teams. I know it's rare for a major league trade. It's rare to trade an injured player, but Bad Idea, Ben, just kind of.
It's not your worst idea.
All right.
Well, it's definitely not your worst idea.
It's not the worst idea I've heard ever. It's not the worst idea I've heard from you in the last 24 hours.
All right. There you go.
But I'd like to keep Michael Wacha. I think I'd like to keep him. If you're going to try to go on a run in the second half,
is not
it's hard,
a great idea.
I mean, and
I know AJ thinks Preller thinks about as outside the box as any GM in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Michael Walker's contract. That is about as outside the box
and
as you can
that
get.
Would be a really outside the box sort of thing. But I could sort of, in my immediate, thinking, I could see how you might be able to make that work for the right return that maybe helps you now and in the future. I don't know how much do you think that Michael Wacha is really the pitcher that we've seen, and how much is there's going to be regression, and he's always had injury troubles, and maybe you sell really high on a guy at this point when the market is absolutely desperate for starting pitchers.
Yes.
And you might be able to do something there. I mean, I've talked myself into it a little bit, at least the thought of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And but there are teams out there that could probably withstand, a couple weeks until they activate him, and having even in certain cases, like a 4th or a 5th starter, a guy that can go out if healthy and eat, 6-7 innings every single time he takes the ball. We need that too, though. We need that desperately. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to watch these guys try to manage over the next couple of weeks, barring any, insane move by AJ Preller. I mean, I actually, what I thought you were going to say? The Mets are pretty much going nowhere. They're not. Justin Verlander looked like he returned to form last night. He is going to cost a fortune, though. I mean, he is massively, massively expensive. Max Scherzer has said he's willing to waive his no trade. I do wonder if either of those guys will be on the move at the deadline. And I don't know, man. It's pricey as hell. Pricey as hell. We saw Scherzer break down in the playoffs last year or the year before, I think. It's just tough. It's tough as hell to.
And the Mets are what? 2 games? 1.5 games behind the Padres. They simply don't have the confidence that the Padres do that they can get back in.
It's wild, right? It's absolutely wild.
It's a part of it's just the way, the run differential, the way the Padres have tantalized. The Mets haven't really done that this year. They haven't had that head scratching. How could this team be so bad? They have the payroll to make you say that, but when you watch them on the field, they look like a bad team.
They look like a bad team
a lot of the time. The Padres sometimes look like an incredibly good team.
Yeah.
It's just they haven't done it consistently.
Like a world beater. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Joey says in the YouTube chat, Weathers is trade bait. Probably get you a similar haul to Walker. I don't know that I agree with that. I think that's a
if
much
someone was
bigger
interested,
sell.
I mean, he's a left-hander that throws
first
round draft pick.
I'm not going to talk down Ryan Weathers right now because, hey,
I love Ryan Weathers. I think he's great, and I think
get,
he's the ace of the future.
And you get his parents who don't meddle at all.
They're amazing. I mean, think of that wisdom you get from David Weathers.
Any team would be lucky.
It's not bad. It's almost like getting two players for
one.
one.
Remember when he came up and made his debut in the playoffs? That just shows grit and fortitude that I think any Major League Baseball team would really want to pay through the nose for right now at this moment in time.
Do you consider?
I like that idea, Paul. That's a great idea.
How about Bad Idea Woods here? Do you consider, now that you have Wilson back, Suarez back, and Josh Hader for now, do you consider trying to stretch Nick Martinez back out?
Yes, I do.
I do too. I absolutely do too.
Plus the fact that Nick Martinez hasn't been doing great in the bullpen.
He has not.
Maybe a switch back to starting, flips a switch a little bit for him.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably a decent course of action and probably where he's better suited. And it could be, it could be an opener type situation. It could be a 3 innings max guy in the middle of the game, whatever. But I think the 8th inning now belongs to Robert Suarez, as it should have been all year had he not gotten hurt. And the 7th inning belongs to Steven Wilson. The 9th inning belongs to Josh Hader.
And then you have him back in the bullpen when you do make the playoffs.
Yeah, and
October.
you got Cosgrove, who's done well, and there's a little bit of light down there in that bullpen, certainly with the addition of Robert Suarez. But if I'm Niebla and Ben Fritz and AJ Preller and Bob Melvin, I'm like, Nick, get those laps in because we're going to build that stamina back up, and we may need you to go 3 or 4. On a spot start against the Rangers, the Rockies, whatever. We got to have it. It's all hands on deck right now. He's not your 8th inning guy. He's just not. We have him. He's back. His name is Robert Suarez. He's been great.
Yes, first 2 appearances have been really nice.
People keep asking, by the way, about Cole Hamels. I see it at least 10 times a day.
Stop thinking about
it. I don't even know. Is he pitching? I know he's signed.
Does he have a pulse?
Is he pitching at all anywhere?
Let's make it our mission to find out.
Okay, I'll be
tomorrow.
Okay,
I mean, he's not with any of the affiliates, right? He's at the complex, I think.
Yeah, that's what the plan was to get him to the complex around June or July, maybe get him started on a minor league somewhere around there.
That's 2021 Jake Arrieta, Vince Velasquez vibes, if we're wondering where Cole Hamels is right now.
I just don't know what you're going to get out of him, if anything. I don't. And I don't know how he's feeling. I really don't. I have no idea what he's up to.
Let me put it this way.
I'll text him.
If he was on the verge and looking great in the
we'd
minor
hear
leagues,
about it.
We'd have heard about it by now. I can promise you that. All right, we will do some digging and we'll get a rival report, some headlines as well. Had a 2 different sports have crowned a new highest paid player of all time in the last 36 hours or so.
Yeah,
not even that.
Paulie will have an update for us when we come back, and a very rare play in Major League Baseball as well. All next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by California Coast Credit Union. With MasterCard Local, CalCoast Credit Union members can earn 5% cash back on purchases made with CalCoast MasterCard credit and debit cards every time they shop at participating businesses. Learn more at calcoastcu.org/shop-local. The old /dash combination.
Slash
right there.
dash.
Slash and dash. All right, we will check traffic, and then Paulie's got some headlines for us to wrap things up with the Rindle Report next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Denick.
Come on, guys. Can we wrap this commute up? Couple of new crashes, hit and run on southbound side of the 15. This is near Mira Mesa Boulevard, not showing if lanes are blocked. Further south on the 15, right before the King Freeway, there is a collision. Looks like everything now over to the right shoulder. Also traveling on the westbound 8 at the 15, an accident has been moved over to the right shoulder. Westbound King Freeway near the 15, clearing an accident to the right shoulder. Near the Palm Avenue on-ramp to southbound 805, we are getting reports of a tree that is caught on fire. I'm Kelly Donick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. Gentlemen, we'll start off in football, pay off the tees. Happens. We talked about Jaylen Brown yesterday and the Celtics and a $304 million 5-year contract, record setter in the NBA. And in the NFL, it happened again. Next quarterback up, pretty much, will become the highest paid player in NFL franchise history. And yesterday, it was Justin Herbert, Ben's Los Angeles Chargers. They agreed to a 5-year, $262.5 million contract extension. So far this offseason, blockbuster deals. We've had Jalen Hurts.
Austin Eckler got $9, by the way, to play for the
I mean, I told you yesterday, we talked about Saquon Barkley, got $11 million on an adjusted franchise tag. Like, Daniel Jones is making like 50.
It's bananas. It's bananas. Kirk Cousins is like
that's
40.
why these running backs are pissed off.
That's it. That's exactly.
I was definitely hoping the Chargers would find a way to screw that up.
Yeah, they didn't.
But you had to re-sign Justin Herbert. He's had more yards than any player in the history of football in his first 3 seasons, passing yards, over 14,000.
How much?
And he's only 25 and 24 as a starter. Remember, Peyton Manning went 4 and 12, 3 and 13, 1 and 15, something in his first season. The wins and losses early in the career don't show what the potential is, and that guy is going to be a really good quarterback for a long time. They had to get him locked up. Now, it's going to be a little harder to sign some of the other guys.
Sure.
I think with the bonuses and everything, like in the very first year, you're going to make over $100 million.
Good.
Just actual cash in the first year.
So 25 years old, under contract through the 2029 season. Deal includes a no trade clause, 133.7 in full guarantees, and 193.7 million in injury guarantees.
Wow.
So that comes after Jalen Hurts signed a 5-year, $255 million deal earlier this offseason, and then Lamar Jackson, he did sign, ended up signing for 5 years and $260. That was the highest, and now Justin Herbert, 5 years, $262.
And in some alternate universe where the Chargers didn't move, we would have spent 3 hours and 50 minutes talking about that deal.
Oh,
and maybe 5 minutes on the fading Padres playoff hopes.
I can't even imagine the swooning from you to Justin Herbert had they never left. If he was the guy here,
I would have really liked him. Really would have liked him.
I still like him.
I do.
I like him. He's fun to watch. Can't deny it.
Good kid.
Yeah.
All right, Major League Baseball
Good for him.
yesterday. We had something that has not happened in a very, very long time.
Padres won a game.
Padres won a game against the Pittsburgh Pirates. How long has it been since they
Well,
won
at
a
least
game?
since last year.
Last year.
Maybe. I don't know. So yesterday, the Braves turned a triple play, which super rare.
Yeah.
But it does happen. I don't know how often it happens. It seems like you don't like no hitters are more common than triple plays.
Absolutely.
Right? But this was an 8-3-5 triple play. Center field, first base, third base. And it was the first 8-3-5 triple play since 1884. So the way it worked, shallow fly ball to center field.
Yeah.
Runners on first and second
Nobody
for Boston. And this is much more a reflection on Boston's
Just
god-awful base running
horrific.
than the Braves turning something insane. So shallow fly ball to center field. Michael Harris catches the fly ball, fires it to first base. Adam Duvall had, I don't know if he thought it was going to drop. He was just way off.
Terrible read, yeah.
Terrible read. So he gets picked backdoor at first base. Then the first baseman, Matt Olson, fires it across the diamond because the guy that was at second base, Yoshida, was at second, and he tried to tag and go to third after he saw that the ball went from center to first. It's tagged out at third base.
It's incredible.
8-3-5 triple play.
And when you see it, like it's one thing to describe it. When you see it, it's even funnier.
What's the coolest triple play?
Oh, the
5-4-3, like hot shot to third, touch
boom,
third,
boom,
second,
boom.
first.
Yeah.
Better
That's
than
coolest.
That's
better
the
than a
coolest. It's
line
also
drive.
got to be the most common.
Now
right?
the unassisted triple play where you've got runners at first and second, and you got maybe a shortstop who's playing up the middle.
Double play.
And you get a line drive up the middle. Like the runners are going. So you get a line drive up the middle. He touches second to force the runner off his second and then tags the guy running from first to second. It's the unassisted triple play.
Rare.
One of the rarest things ever in baseball. That's obviously very cool as well. But I love the old 5-4-3.
5-4-3 is beautiful.
Manny's got to do that at some point.
Oh, absolutely. And if anybody could do it, it's this team.
I'm waiting for it.
It's this team.
Yeah, like I said, only the second 8-3-5 triple play in history.
You need Vogelbach.
1884, the Boston Bean Eaters did it against the Providence Grays.
You need like Vogelbach. I think he actually moves pretty well for a big guy.
Do you
You
think-
need some lumbering.
I mean, Boston didn't have big guys on the base
Yeah,
pass
that's true.
yesterday.
Duvall's
That's
fairly
just
big, but
terrible.
it's bad base run.
Terrible base
Bad
run.
read.
Do you think like that's just a sign of the times? Like if you were signed by the Bean Eaters, that was very normal. Like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I'm a Bean Eater.
Yeah, I'm a bean eater.
And it wasn't as weird as it sounds
No.
now. Okay, because now that would be a strange nickname.
Be like, all right, you've been drafted by the bean eaters. Like, you know what? I'll just go be an accountant. I don't want to do this. I
I'll
can't.
be a bean counter.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I'm
exactly. Yeah, I'll be a bean counter. I'm good. I don't want to play baseball. I'm good. Please.
What would the logo be? Like
It's a guy with a spoon,
in a can.
spoonful of beans with a
Ben
big
Stiller
smile.
in dodgeball at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Just bloated, sweaty, chicken
Bean
all
eaters.
over him. Just can of beans.
Why are beans synonymous with Boston?
I
Boston baked
remember a
beans.
few days ago when the headline came up after he was DFA'd and Padres release Odor, and someone said, "Me after eating a can of
Yeah.
beans."
A lot of Odor jokes.
Odor released.
Low hanging
Very low.
fruit. Beans, the magical fruit. Yeah.
The more you eat.
Or you too.
Thank you for that, gentlemen. And finally, recently, one of America's biggest wrongs has been righted. Captain Crunch's uniform is now accurate.
I didn't know that it was inaccurate.
Captain
Apparently,
Crunch.
yes, for a while.
Captain Crunch celebrated a 60-year birthday, 60 years old. That Quaker Oats cereal has been around. Captain Horatio Magellan Crunch.
Ooh, I didn't even know he had a first and middle name.
He's finally earned an actual captain's uniform. The uniform has always been wrong. I didn't know this.
I didn't either.
The gold stripes on his sleeve are well below his rank. Always have been up until now. So an American naval captain wears 4 gold bars on their sleeve. Captain Crunch has always had less than 4. He initially started with 1 bar. Then he got 2 bars, which
He
is
used
a
to be
lieutenant.
Commander Crunch.
And he was
basically.
most recently a 3 bars on his sleeve, a Commander Crunch.
Lieutenant Crunch, then became Commander Crunch, but now officially, finally, Captain Crunch.
All right.
60th anniversary,
promoted.
they finally promoted Captain Crunch to captain.
Elite.
I haven't had a bowl of
It
Captain
is
Crunch in quite a
so
while.
good.
It's elite.
It
It
is
is so
And
perfect.
people are going to hear them and go, oh, I don't like the way it
Oh, it
shreds the roof of my mouth. That's why it's so good.
I mean, you have to like
Need it.
It makes you, once you know the tricks of the trade with it, it still gets you a little bit, but not like when you were a kid. When you're a kid, you're like, oh my God. Like you couldn't have anything salty after.
Yeah, you had a softer mouth back then.
Yeah, it's true. But now you really savor each bite. And I feel so dirty after eating. And I can't eat just a little bit.
No,
I do
the whole box.
I do the Friday style bowl and the milk.
Get the mixing
whole
bowl.
bit. Yes.
Half a gallon of milk.
I would do that's one thing I could do a contest with. Like, all right, see how much Captain I could kill a box easily this afternoon.
Yeah.
Easily.
I got teenagers. I often see the milk, the mixing bowl with the little milk residue in the sink.
Yeah.
Like that was a great.
I know what happened here.
Yep.
Yeah. How do you guys treat super hot foods? Like, do you just go after it, or are you really careful about not burning the roof of your mouth, or your tongue?
I'm pretty guilty. Of just
I
going
can't
after
like a hot slice of pizza. First bite, the cheese gets me at the top of my mouth, and then for the next, I'd say 2 days, you feel it up there on the right at the top there.
I can't.
Your palate.
I can't do it. I can't do.
You wait. And
I can't do. I can eat.
You blow on it.
I can eat.
I don't blow on things
room
anymore.
temperature food. It doesn't bother me at all. Like nothing in my life has to be super hot unless it's like chicken noodle soup.
But you have
and even then,
when you're served something super hot, you have the patience to wait it out.
Oh yeah, I have to because I don't want to burn my mouth.
You really don't like.
I do not like it, and my kids. There's a microwave, right? Like there needs to be something for parents that you can put in and cool it. You know how many times we have to put the kids' dinners in the freezer for like a minute? They will not eat anything with a temperature over like 60 degrees. I mean, everything's got to be damn near cold before they'll eat it. It is such a beating.
So my mom is the opposite way. She will like pour a hot cup of coffee and then 2 minutes later will microwave it because it's not hot enough
You
anymore.
are kidding me.
She just likes it everything
hot,
ridiculously hot.
I can't do it.
No.
I can't do it. I'm kind of a wuss about everything like hot, even spicy. Like I can't do Cholula to me like lights me up. So I'm just
like Thai
totally
food when they
different.
say
I know.
When they say
Yeah.
1 to 10, what's your spice level?
1,
Just
2.
1. I'm more. I like
Thai food
I like
yesterday.
like a 3 or 4, but I don't want to go super spicy. But I like a little spice.
Our
Like a little heat.
buddy Foster did that wing challenge thing a couple weeks ago because of course he did. And they send you a box of like the liquid and the spice and stuff. And then you get a bunch of wings.
Like the ghost
hot
pepper.
ones.
Yeah.
And there's like 10 different ones. And he sent me like 40 texts about it, if I'm being honest. But I mean, I looked at it, I go, it's not pleasurable. It's for me. The sweating and your mouth's all tingly, and I don't know how to get rid of it. So I drink water, and that makes it worse.
It ruins it for me.
It just ruins it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I like a tiny, tiny smidge of spice, and that's it.
Speaking of kind of wussy, I'm looking at this tweet from I think it's a Pirates fan, Platinum Cabrian.
I saw that.
Yeah, if you're wondering what prompted Angel Perdomo to hit Manny Machado, this was from the Padres broadcast right before this pitch, and it's literally a shot of Juan Soto after he's coming back to the dugout. He elbow bumps Xander, and then low high fives Fernando, and they do their little 3-step dance, and he goes back into the dugout. And even Pirates fans, I'm looking at the thread, are kind of like, dude, I mean,
He's getting emotional.
like David says, I mean, our guys take out a plastic sword and dance around after every bomb. This is really justifying throwing 98 miles an hour at their
next
star
hitter.
player.
Have you ever watched the Padres hit a home run ever?
Well, no, but
Or
they've
have you
watched
watched any baseball team ever hit a home run?
They've watched the Pirates, and the Pirates do it plenty, and Kutch does it, and Brian Hayes does it, and that guy's, in fact, his pinned tweet is some celebration.
It's a bat flip and a walk by
Andrew McCutcheon. Yeah. So I mean,
what are we doing? This is standard baseball stuff. That's some real get off my lawn energy there. If you honestly believe that he was upset over how they greet each other at their dugout after a home run, then that young man should have plunked many, many more before that.
No doubt. It is. I saw Jeff Fry, who is just one of my favorite targets, losing his mind the other day. Manny Ramirez, his son, who looks like an absolute unit from the left side, hits a bomb, and really, it's fairly tame, man. Honestly, he runs. I think it was a game winner or something. He looks to his dugout and he just kind of runs. He's like pumping his fist, and then he jumps at third base and drops his fist on the third base coach's fist. And he just lost his mind. And he said, I played against his dad. He never did this. And I'm like, Are we talking about the same Manny Ramirez? Like the same Manny Ramirez that would, absolutely did that. And again, it's the acting like nothing bad ever happened in the foregone era that drives me the most nuts about some of the old heads. A lot of this stuff has been going on for years, Ben. There's always been flash in the game of baseball. Always. There's always been flash in the game of baseball. But man, it's really come to the forefront lately. And I agree. There's a time, respecting your opponent is important. Good sportsmanship is important. You had a walk-off winner off me, man. Have a ball. I'm not even looking at you as I walk back to the dugout with my tail between my legs. Just have a ball.
Just got a little breaking college basketball news in my email inbox. San Diego State, of course, coming off their national championship season, just announced they will play a home-and-home series against Gonzaga this year. They will go up to Spokane on December 29th, and then next year the Zags will come down to Viejas Arena 2024-2025 season. It is hard for Brian Dutcher to schedule non-conference games because, let's be honest, most teams are afraid of San Diego State.
They don't want to play them.
They don't want to play the Aztecs. They don't want to go in and get trounced at Viejas Arena. They don't want to take a home loss. That's even worse. So it's tough for him to schedule good opponents, but I love this. I love that they're going to go back. Haven't done it in a few years where they've played Gonzaga. So they will, trip to the Final Four, paying some dividends here. They schedule a big-time opponent for the next 2 seasons, going to Gonzaga and then coming back to Viejas Arena next year. That's pretty cool.
How do you think the squad is coming together for Coach Dutcher right now?
I like it. I think Dutch likes it too. I trust what Dutch says.
Sure.
And he doesn't exaggerate, and he thinks his team's going to be really good again this year. I think last time I checked, ESPN has them at 12th in their too early top 25 poll, but I will take that to start any season at all. Usually it's
to the Natty. That happens.
Usually it's like, hey, names to mention, and then they got to fight their way into the top 25 after a month, and maybe they keep moving up if they're really good. How about once a little respect on the Aztecs name to start the year this year? But we're still a couple months away.
Yep, and didn't know Basketball Ben would make an appearance today, but he did.
Threw it in at the last second.
I always appreciate it. Game time is 1:10.
That's right, 12:10 pregame show today with Sam Levitt. And then we will be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Let's go Taylor Colway. Need a big day from you, buddy.
All right, Coach is coming up next. I'm sure they'll have all the lineups and everything out shortly for you. For Paul Reinl and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Wednesday from all of us here at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long.